Yesterday's conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media and I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine, but the carnal mind is foolish. Obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out. Stop it, I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second itch to me just to be this out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, to the 509 Divine Pines podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Daniel Pena, and alongside me today is George Wiseman. It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. So it's hot. It is getting real humid in some of these locations. It is getting sweaty, and we want water, but we're not having it, man. We ran out of water, guys. AI data centers took them all. Bill Gates took them all. Mark Zuckerberg, he's drinking all of it with his lizard reptilian tongue. Today, we're going to break down some of this talk on water, how important it is to us, what the future might be, who we are dealing with, and what we are up against. So if you guys could, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's get into a topic that everybody needs to know more about. And if you guys would like to, also go over to eagle-research.com. You can find the link down below. You can see it in the ticker. You will find George Wiseman's aquacure AC130, a very powerful, very efficient water technology that is revolutionizing the way that we understand consumption. Just alone in the last 5 years, I've seen technologies of both water electrolyzers and water ionizers go through the roof. It's because we're paying attention more. Everybody's like looking at all these dirty water supplies, the stock market now getting water. It seems like we're losing a bit of our life force. So in order to regain that life force, we must study it. And we have the man, the myth, the legend, George Wiseman. Hey, man, for everybody out there, if you guys could tell them about yourself.
Yeah, in fact, we just came out with a new version of the water machine, the what we call the aquacure AC60. And so that's now for sale on our website as well. And I'm inhaling the Brown's gas even now as we speak because I really walk my talk. The things that it's done for me, and and looking at a previous version of a previous podcast, you understand why I'm so passionate about it. But I started inhaling just to prove it was safe, not because I expected any particular health gains. And I have a long list of things that happened. So essentially, my biological age retrogressed about 20 years. I lost things like my neuropathies, my warts, my tinnitus, my scars, all the scars on my body healed and stuff like that. So absolutely amazing testimonials have been coming in for people that are using the aquacure machine. Like one of the worst cancers in the world, where a woman, her name is Jay Lee, had was given 2 weeks to live if she didn't supposedly take all the chemo and radiation and radical surgery and stuff. It had started as a breast cancer that had metastasized through to her spine. And the surgery would have left her paralyzed and stuff. So she said no to everything, absolutely everything. Just went on a healthful lifestyle, including pure water and the Brown's gas from an Aquacure AC50. That was the earlier version. And 1 year later, 100% cancer free. And it's testimonials like that on virtually every ailment out there that is coming back. So we really want to help people with that. And it comes back to water. And that's what we're talking about today, the amazing aspects of water. There is one thing I wanted to show, and we can come back to it. But if you take the Brown's gas and you burn it in a little mini torch, a micro torch, which comes with the Aquacure, by the way, you get something we call deuterium depleted water, DDW, which is a big fad out there as well, and we can discuss why. But it also comes in new water, and here on this show we're talking about some stuff that's right on the edge. So here I have a bottle that has some sediment in the bottom of it. Okay, there's a little bit of sediment there. There as much as 10 ounces of sediment came out of this bottle, and it turns out that this new water, which has its memory entirely erased, so people are understanding things about water, was sitting on a shelf next to a bottle of Body Booster. This here. So people, it's a little vitamin mineral mix that you take it about an ounce a day, and the sunlight shining through it impressed the information onto the new water. And the new water started to form sediment in the bottle. And they got 10 ounces of sediment out of that bottle. And when they tested it, all the 50, so in other words, this bottle here had 10 ounces of that sediment, which is now all shook up in the thing there. But they got 10 ounces out of that. And all 50 minerals that were in this bottle were in the sediment of the new water. It was a transmutation happening on the most basic level, and that can happen inside the body as well. There's a biological transmutation that happens in the body. So there's a whole lot of things about water, and I haven't even talked about EZ gel, which is exclusion zone water, or some people call it structured water, which the body absolutely needs. For all water-based life forms need to have this gel inside them. It's what plumps up every cell in our system. It's what makes medical mysteries. It solves medical mysteries and everything. So we can get back into that a little bit too. But water is absolutely essential, and you need pure water. I drink distilled water that's bubbled with the Brown's gas. But and there are some minerals that you can get directly from water, like sodium chloride and stuff, but like table salt. But most minerals and impurities in the water are not biological or healthy, and or the water can have information in it that isn't healthy for you. And there's whole stories about that as well. So I'll kind of let Joseph guide us here, but I expect we'll see some exciting things or learn some things about water.
Indeed. Your transmutation is something that I think is constantly happening right before our own eyes, where it's, we can see how resonance it affects things around us. The resonance theory, where like if I'm a positive light, then everything around me is going to be a positive light. My dog, my friends, my family, the water, everything. And in reverse aspect, to see the destruction of this water molecule and the resonance is what we see with our phones and these energy drinks. Some of these energy drinks doing like liquid death, where they're, they have the resonance of hate and evil and Satan and things. But these phones right before our own eyes, this blue light, what I recently discovered is that the blue light right here, it collects mold. So like, I mean, it attracts mold. Sorry, it attracts mold, where blue light constantly going into our eyes and into our reticles, our cones, and our prisms. It's actually creating this moldy-like moldy-like structures, small, finer, like. That's why it's hard to see in some areas, because after you're looking at your phone and TV, it's creating this, but it's also reflecting back into the spirit, into the mind, and causing a bad resonance. It's causing, to people to absorb evil frequencies, toxic frequencies, as you stated, with clean, powerful mineral water resonating into brand new water and forming the mineral compounds of the original source. It's the same thing is happening with our mind and spirit and phones and TVs, the electronics. And you know, it's good to put positive energy out here like we are doing, because hey, me and you are healing these people's minds, frequencies, eyes, and everybody out there. We drink a lot, but we drink reality like subconsciously too. So you know, there's water we're drinking physically, but we're drinking reality constantly, because everything is hydrogen. Everything has this materialist, I mean, everything has this ethereal, not material, ethereal compound, like this essence, that this electrical essence is spiritual, informational essence, where we see hydrogen is most abundant compound. I know H2O, oxygen, this, but hydrogen is really one of the main life forces, and you've been able to, I would say, master it in a sense to clean the hydrogen states, the oxygen, you know, this H2O state, to replenish it, recharge it, put it back into its new state, and then we're inhaling it, straight up inhaling it and drinking it. It's great to see how at a molecular, spiritual, ethereal level we are recharging, you know, our spirits. And all around the world right now, especially with these data centers, there's an attack on the human spirit and the human water source, the lifeline, the alkaline nature of who we are, electrical, you know, what, all these different words. It really does describe us. It really, we're ethereal beings. And so today, guys, we're gonna go battle back and forth between how fucked up these data centers are and what we could do about it, I guess, in essence, in our daily lives. Like, hey man, I think that taking care of our water is probably the biggest thing. Like, um, I know for a fact that our ancient ancestors, the Egyptians, the, you know, Mayans, Incas, Aztecs, all these different ancient cultures, they were one with water. They respected water. And as you said, that water has information. One of the things right now that humanity is losing is knowledge and wisdom, and the ability to think, and it has to deal with this water inside of our brain. Like, um let's just say it like this, like, uh, tap water, and you know, some store bought bottled waters and liquid deaths and 7 Ups and Pepsis. Those things are clogged water, dirty, muddy water going into our brain and going into our body, just destructing, making problems. And that's not what we want here, guys. We're we're a human that has a certain set of biological traits. And if we alter those biological traits, well, we see Gorlock. You know who, you know, Gorlock is? That so Gorlock is this super overweight chick who is like supposedly like celebrity fan, like a little bit celebrity-ish, and she's over here acting like real rude and mean, like the fuck. People are not people anymore, guys. What I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say. Um, sorry. Let's get into this. Enough of my rant. It's gotten me heated lately, especially that what's going on here in the West Coast, from California to Washington. We have some of the most pristine waters in the world, and it's being attacked, guys. So this is a very good topic that all of us need to understand. So just for a quick rundown, so we're gonna pad the numbers. California has roughly 300 plus data centers, and at least 280 of them built in the last 4 years. There are at least 50 plus more data centers announced. One state alone, I guess, of you know, these 300 data centers can use the power of 100,000 average homes. Newly planned data centers will use 100 million average homes. So these data centers will use more than 100 million homes worth of power. They currently use about 50 billion gallons of water per year, which might rise to 100 trillion. Holy shit, 120 billion gallons per year. Oh my God. All right. So that is causing a 60% drought in the United States, all across America, where data centers used over 1 trillion liters of water in North America last year. Wait, how the fuck? One of these numbers is. Oh, okay. Wait. The 50 billion gallons per year is only for California. So combined in America, we have used over a trillion. Here,
Yes,
check this.
and
We're
there's
gonna
lots of
show
places
what
where
these do to people.
they are
Things
already
haven't been
having problems
okay.
with water.
Sorry.
Yeah, there were quite a few places that already were having trouble with groundwater.
Yep. Let's.
Communities report a constant low-frequency hum from data centers that is making them sick. As AI expands, residents want answers. We want to hear from you about your experiences.
Now, on the residential level, man, if millions of people are affected like this, let's just say 350 million people are affected, and where our water source is cut out, what does that do to the economic state? It pretty much shuts us all down, right?
Yeah, which seems to be part of the agenda. Like they're trying to cut out fuel right now, and that'll affect everything because food, fertilizers, and food, and the transportation to get the food to the grocery store, and every product raises in price. People have probably been noticing that the costs of everything are going up. The petrochemical reserves in the United States have been decimated. They're almost reaching the critical low levels. And a critical low level is only halfway down. Like they store it in great big caves underneath the earth. And when there isn't enough oil in the caves start to collapse. So you end up not being able to get all the oil out anyway. So the amount of oil that you can get out is reaching a critical state. People don't realize how close we are to the edge right now.
Speaking of that oil collapse, like that's true, right? How waterways even are being dried out. Everything is being dried out. These oil reserves, water reserves, and when these things dry out, yeah, the cities collapse, and some even actually sink. There's some that are completely being like caved in because there's no structure underneath anymore. There's no support. There's no life support. The weight of water is freaking immense. The weight of these oils and gold mines, copper mines, everything is really immense. And when they dig underneath the cities, too much, it'll barricade the city from within, and there'll be no more civilization. And when we take apart our biological like nature to the earth, let's just say how our ancestors knew that there was a pattern, ley lines. We were born and systematically put on these ley lines, these energetic lines of the earth. And well, when we strip away that energetic source, it's I think it's like a hit to our consciousness, a hit to earth, where suddenly earth loses a power node, earth loses a conscious source, a state where we see India right now. They have fallen so far away from their originality. It's completely corroded them to the core. They were one of the most beautiful countries, but now their waterways are shit. Their consciousness is shit. They're literally throwing poop in a poop festival. Unreal. And we cannot lose that spiritual source, that energetic source, because, well, if we lose our fuel, water, our food, we're gonna lose everything, guys. And it's already affecting people. It's already affecting people really bad. Like this.
My name's Rhiannon. I live in.
Oh, you bitch.
So just a few miles from where this data center is going to be put up. And I also did not know that this was happening until 2-3 weeks ago, which is interesting because I'm all over this issue. First thing I just wanted to know is if anybody in my community here tonight is in Cumberland County. No. Also interesting to me, I want to read some quotes from some people who live in communities that have already put up data centers. Quote, I've been here 81 years. I can't stay here. Quote, my mom has been here her whole life, 82 years. She's not happy about it, but she does want to leave. Quote, my neighbor was washing my clothes and messed up a whole load of whites because it came out stained from that brown water. A conversation between a journalist and a resident. Do you feel like it's safe to drink? No, I buy water. Have they addressed that? No, they haven't. Have you gotten any information at all? No, none at all. Quote, this is my water pressure in my kitchen, a trickle. Quote, this is where I fill my buckets to flush my toilet. Quote, I can't breathe at home. It smells like gas outside. Quote, you know when you light your stove and the gas seeps with that little ticking noise? That's what it smells like. Quote, my electric and gas bill is more than my car payment. Quote, the light pollution is we don't have to have a nightlight in the house. You can walk around the house at night and see everything. It's that bright. And my favorite quote, a lawyer for Microsoft, quote, nobody really wants a data center in their backyard. I don't want a data center in my backyard. Data centers, once they're operational, don't bring a lot of jobs. So how do data centers impact communities? Jobs, a few dozen specialized jobs, usually hiring remotely. Electric, bill increases, extreme added burden on the grid. Air quality, increased ER visits due to asthma, COPD, and other breathing issues. Water, loss of water pressure in homes, water tainted with sediment, unsafe to drink, aquifer strain, which by the way, South Jersey already has issues with our aquifer due to overusage and multiple years of droughts in the summer. Cumberland County is the poorest county in New Jersey. This isn't happening to help our county. It's happening to take advantage of our county. These data centers are only popping up in the poorest communities in our countries because the wealthy people do not want them. They make people sick. They steal our resources, water pollution, air pollution, noise and light pollution. And what do we get in return? Because it ain't jobs. Three counties in Indiana have put a moratorium on building data centers. Several in Georgia, Missouri, Illinois, Arizona, across the country. Communities are protecting themselves from this poison. Are we going to allow it in Cumberland County?
Yo, dude, what she's saying is very, very real. And as you said too, like communities are currently impacted, sick, hurt. And you know what's sad is that like we saw what happened with Flint, Michigan, and how bad they suffered with their water supply. They're not even fully fixed yet. Now, what she harped on that I had no idea about is that how these data centers are being put into minority communities, which is just in line with the rest of these Rockefeller and Davos-like dudes who, first of all, put Planned Parenthood in minority communities. They infiltrated drug and crack dealers into minority communities. They put alcohol stores and liquor stores in minority communities to destruct the population. And these data centers now, man, I bet you you won't find them in the rich neighborhoods, the rich cities, the ultra rich places. Wow, man.
Yeah, absolutely not. If you have money, you can help protect yourself against this sort of thing, or can afford to move to some place where they aren't and is nicer. Yeah, it's going to affect the masses more than the one percenters.
Indeed, and there's a lot of controversy with these data centers on why they're even here. See, people know that their game plan with these data centers stems from what I'm about to read right here, guys. And this is the icing on the cake, because, well, everybody asks, well, why do we need these data centers? Why? Data centers are the physical backbone of the digital world. They gather all data for artificial intelligence, cloud computing, biometric databases, So this artificial intelligence is tracking us constantly. The cloud computing is mapping it and putting it all into files and putting us into section A, B, C, all these things. Biometric database is the same thing with this cloud computing. That's hand in hand where they're putting us into biometric data. Like, so, minorities over here, or the rich over here, or the dissidents over here, the weed lovers over here, the coke users over here, whatever. They're mapping out all of America. Financial tracking. These data centers can now hold everybody's financial records, everybody's online records. This is the integration of smart cities where we see Wall-E and these technologically advanced cities in movies are ran by computers. And well, these data centers are the computers. Internet of Things devices. So pretty much they'll have communication with every device around. All of our Samsungs, all of our fancy TVs, smart computer, smart watches, smart refrigerators. These will be built in with the future digital identification system how China currently has. China is currently operating their biometric facial recognition system that is integrated with their money. That is possibly how we're about to be, guys. It tracks all of our location data, and also these things do location mapping. They do location prediction, so they'll predict where we're going, predict where people will be in a year or half a year or a day. If you make your route very obvious every day, and you go to Starbucks at 9 a.m. every day, guess what? These governments know that, and they have you on their computer. This sucker by Starbucks at 9 a.m. every day. We could sell them anything. We have behavioral analytics, so it's tracking everybody's emotions, which we see our iPhones and these different phones and computers. They actually do say, yeah, we're tracking your emotions and kind of reading you. And their surveillance feed, live surveillance feed for AI Overwatch or actual in-house operators. Everything has to be processed somewhere, and these data centers are the processing power. If covert technology is being used to monitor, influence, track, and profile human beings, it needs an infrastructure. This data center is the infrastructure. It has all the processing power, it has all the AI analysis power, the pattern recognition power, the signal interpretation. These data centers might just be what we could call a threat to humanity.
Yep, absolutely. We're these TV shows are being very predictive, like Terminator. The AI could suddenly decide, hey, we don't need humans anymore. They're just a pest, and they can do their own mining. They can make their own. They can replicate themselves. They can figure out what's good for them, and it may not be us. And then even before that, you're looking at George Orwell's 1984 on steroids, where everything is monitored and you have you're told what to think and how to think, and they even make up words that are the opposite of what they actually mean.
I haven't read 1984. Can you break that down just for my viewers? Or if you could give a brief.
Yeah, it's interesting. I started my business in 1984, and I used to drive around a 1984 Volvo. It was a pivotal year for me. But nevertheless, George Orwell wrote a book called 1984. I definitely recommend reading it. It's a real nice read, but it does seem to. I saw a quote out there recently. 1984 wasn't supposed to be a script. So essentially, if you read it, you'll see a lot of what's going on today, and they cause people to think things that just aren't true, like 2 + 2 = 5, stuff like that. And anybody who it doesn't think the way that the government says to think is persecuted and or eliminated. And the amount of control that they have over the information Like we're seeing that even today. They're trying to erase information that the government doesn't want people to see. And we're talking incredible amounts of information that even I, as an inventor, I know what the reality is. And suddenly stuff is either being erased or denied that actually exists, or things that don't exist are being fed to us and causing us to react as if they do exist when there is no such existence. So just fairly quickly, it talks about this one guy who is wandering through this particular scenario, and the experiences he has, and in the very end he gets shot. So it's a crazy book, but it really is predictive. I really do recommend that people read it. George Orwell, 1984.
It's like the realization of government conspiracy on a global level before our own eyes, right?
Absolutely.
So people out there, not us, we do our research, but I think this has been a long plan. What we see right now, I think it's been a 100-year plan to kind of demoralize and destroy us, take us away from our ether. And this is a big point I like to make. Like 100 years ago, I believe it's like the Rockefellers and these colleges, some of these colleges, Yale, these other guys, Harvard's, whatever, they all banded together and they wanted to take out ether, and they didn't really like that. We were being taught natural, holistic type of ways of living, healing, ways of thinking, and our connection to the earth, our connection to energy and spirit. And this water is one of the ways where there was this movie I watched. It was like The Curse of the Mayan, and in there it was really interesting. So these archaeologists are going down into waterways, and these ancient Mayans knew how to like put energy and information into water, and like they passed down like knowledge through certain like water techniques, or water, like a water crystal or something. It was a waterway. It was very fascinating. It was like a stone in a water. All I know is that we used to be far more intelligent. We used to be able to like thrive. We right now, it seems like all this global control, we're under the system of the cameras, and everything that we do, say, operate of the government, has taken us out of that power. It's making people forget that they have power, they have energy, consciousness, life, knowledge within. I saw a clip also of people showing the radioactivity of materials. One of them was radium, and they showed another one, and they showed how radium is very radioactive. And like that's us. If we have bad water, we have no energy. But if we have like extremely good water, extremely good life, food, energy, oh my God, guys, we have some of the most divine, amazing abilities as a human race, humankind. That's why God birthed us to be in his image. We're gonna go up. We cannot lose this image, guys. One of the reasons I always stay in shape, and I tell this on my fitness channel and on my Facebook, is that I don't ever want to disrespect what God made. The body that I have, the earth around me, I don't ever want to be part of that.
Yeah, we are absolutely amazing beings. As I learn more about our bodies, I'm constantly amazed. Like even just you look at your finger. How does your body know to keep that finger your finger? All the cells that are in that finger have been replaced many times over your lifetime, and yet that it's the same. It's the same finger. And this particular finger here that I mashed with a 5-pound sledge accidentally, and it just spit out and broke the bone and everything. It is a little bit cauliflowered on the end of it, but my my scars are gone and everything. How does the body know that that finger is supposed to be just the way that it is? And that happens all through your whole body. Like, how does each body know what it's supposed to be like? And they've already shown that the mind can change your DNA. So this thing of which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. Well, God made us all. And you can start with that. But then as we evolved to fit our environment, whatever it would happen to be, the best, the ones that could change the easiest and put that right into their DNA, then their progeny were upgraded to handle that sort of environment. And one thing about the Rockefellers that a lot of people don't know is that they bought all of the alternative health colleges and universities and stuff, or medical centers that were training these alternative health modalities, and they closed them down. So the only thing that was left was what we now see is the medical system, which concentrates on keeping people sick. Honest to God, they've done studies that show, and you can look this up on the internet. It hasn't been erased yet. There isn't a lot, but it's there, that show that health isn't profitable. Sickness is profitable. So if you treat the symptoms without curing the disease or the ailment, you make the most profit. And they've set things up so they keep getting the people's money until the day they die, and just kind of stretch it out there till they've sucked up every possible thing that they can suck out of people. And it's unfortunate because it isn't like the doctors go to school to learn how to be these sort of leeches. They actually want to help people. But they're trained to be drug pushers to treat symptoms, and that's what they do because that's what they know. And but there are practitioners out there, holistic practitioners, all kinds of people who are trying to keep and maintain and relearn the truth about these pharmaceuticals and stuff. Like even aspirin, it's made from a component of willow bark. But if you take the component directly from the willow bark, you don't get the same side effects that aspirin gives you, because all the micro stuff is in there to keep the body healthy while the aspirin is doing its job. It's just one example. So the drug companies made a drug from something that was natural, God-given, and they concentrated it and took out all the stuff so they could patent it and then make their billions of dollars. So I try to concentrate on helping the body heal to what it's supposed to be, and therefore get rid of the symptoms, because you have a healthy body. And as talking about exercise, the hydrogen helps mimic some of the advantages of exercise. So even if you aren't exercising as much as you should or could, you get the healthy benefit as if you did exercise some. But even the athletes that do exercise get it even optimized. They optimize their body health. So the Brown's gas is doing an excellent job, which, by the way, it isn't only giving the hydrogen. We're 62% hydrogen by volume, 24% oxygen, 12% carbon, and only 2% everything else. So that 62% is your major macronutrient that you need. And if you don't have it, then your body starts shutting down your immune systems, your regeneration systems, all the things that require hydrogen, but aren't immediately life-threatening. And therefore you get all these ailments, which as soon as you start giving the body what it needs, which includes not only the hydrogen, but Brown's gas includes energy. There's bioavailable electrons in what we call the electrically expanded water. That's part of the Brown's gas mixture. So these electrons, they get rid of oxidative cascade. They help prevent radiation damage, which is really important these days with all the things like the cell phones and radiation that's happening around us all the time. It helps mitigate and prevent and heal from the radiation damage. So I just wanted to mention that because you were talking about the hydrogen recharging. Well, it's not only giving you the nutrition you need, but also the energy that you need for the healing to go on. So I just thought I'd mention those things.
and to talk about how clean hydrogen affects the body and our cells, right? All of our cells are water-based molecules in a sense. Like if we boil it, soup go down very, very fine levels. It's a lot of hydrogen, a lot of water-based molecules, and so on the cellular structure, when we look at the ions and the shield that's around it, every little piece of our body has like energy, and then around it there's like a little shield, and on the cellular level, right? It's so when we have bad water, that shield of the cell surrounding the cell is actually very, very weak and damaged, and there is no shield actually. And so this radiation, these towers, the 5G 6Gs, on a radiational level, it goes in and destroys the cell because there's no shielding around the cell anymore. And the shield depends directly on our nutritional level, and so if we have very bad nutrition, there will be no shielding. That's why if you have bad nutrition, you're constantly getting sick. But if you have really good nutrition, really good health, you're really good. Your body is shielded up. You're fighting off viruses, and water is a direct correlation to this. Where how our cells are moving and flushing each other out on a daily basis. We flush it out, but we can't flush it out if we have muddy, bad water, dirty water. So all of our body is stagnant. It's not even moving anymore. Our blood cells aren't moving anymore if we're having bad water. It's more like mud, and that's why you see clogged arteries. You see just problems with tumors growing. And to heart back, that's one of the things. I remember now. I was going to talk about these tumors and parasites earlier. I've been researching a lot about these things, and on a real deep level, there seems to be a correlation with tumors and cancers and parasites, and how our body is seemingly growing these things because we have some type of parasitic nature inside of us. Uh, if we look at the food, if we look at the medicine, and if we look at just the way that the governments are operating their chemical um, operations, I guess you would say, it's really causing parasites inside of a lot of humanity. We are literally filled with parasites, and it's bad, evil parasites, toxic parasites, junk, gunk, things that are eating up the brain, the heart, causing egg sacs. This is where the tumors and cancers come from, because they're seemingly more like egg sacs. And so people have been using parasite remedials to remove cancers and tumors, which is like, they'll use like ivermectin, CBD. Your Brown's gas would also be a direct influence on destroying these parasites. I believe there would be a strong benefit into trying to see how, like, for me, the easiest way to see it is pork. Like, I removed pork, and I suddenly started noticing all my parasites go away. Like, everything in my gut problem, all my gut problems, all my brain problems, lethargy, everything that was like holding me back, even it, on the muscle level, it felt like pork was affecting my body. I started doing a little bit of research on how pork is extremely toxic, extremely toxic with parasites. One of the most filled animals with parasites, and it's going into the humans. Then I looked at the GMO foods and how these things have parasitic nature, where they're injecting these things with vaccines or different type of bioorganisms, biological organisms, little worms and bugs and these things. They say they're beneficial, I guess, in a sense, because they're helping. But they're really injecting humanity with this parasitic type of influence. Some some people say it's like related to this Hydra vulgaris type of ancient parasitic influence that these cults had on us, where it's not just the Illuminati who has this parasite in their eye. No, it's humanity right now. They got a parasite in their gut. They got a parasite in their brain, and this is more of a weaker one, where it still knows what it's doing. People are blacking out, saying, I don't know why I was like that. I know exactly why you're like that, because there's a alternate brain, there's a secondary brain inside of you that's not from your life force, and people don't want to accept that. And this is a very big topic for me. Like over the last 2 years, I've cut out pork, and I've been called racial slurs like Jewish and Muslim, like so crazy. It's so weird. But there's also a lot of people who are very accepting, and I'm like, thanks, man. Thanks for not shitting on me for just choosing not to eat pork. And I try to break it down how, like, right now it's very obvious that some people can see this force against us, biological force against us. And then I'm trying to tell, like, hey, look, we can go on a parasite cleanse. We can really, really hone in. You can lose all that fat. You can lose all that anger. You can lose all that lethargy. You can wake up sharp again. You can have good sexual health. You can be at the gym and go for hours. Like for me, like I'm able to go to the gym for hours. Like now I'm just endurance through the roof. But I tell people that, and there's like something that has closed their eyes and is speaking for them. When I say, hey man, like, McDonald's is very bad, and then people get defensive. Whoa, why are you talking about McDonald's like that? I'm like, whoa, dude, like, you're not even Ronald McDonald himself. You're not even the CEO, bro. Chill. Like, why are you defending something, a $1 trillion corporation that has zero best interest for you, actually 100% worst interest for you? And it's the parasite within them actually that's speaking. And it's very, very obvious when you look around humanity right now, when you tell them something about like a topic that doesn't have anything to do with them owning it, like, let's just say like Adidas shoes or some shit. And then people get real defensive, but it's not them. It's not the humankind. It's nothing in their brains matter that says that's them. It's more of a something triggering. It's a trigger, and we see it right now. Humanity has been infected, and currently it's being triggered, where we need to remove these parasites, remove these toxins. It's openly known that these health agencies, these health administrations, they say we have a reptilian side of the brain and we have a normal side of the brain, right? They call it that. Why would they call it the reptilian side of the brain unless they're trying to influence you and like MK Ultra of the population? And they have. Have you ever looked into how Brown's gas removes parasites, or is it any of your research where tumors and cancers are parasites?
There is correlations between tumors and cancers and parasites. That's been established many times. And it is absolutely true that virtually all of the anti-parasitic modalities help get rid of cancer. So there's definitely a connection there. I don't know exactly what the connection is, but it's established. It's undeniable. Brown's gas itself doesn't kill anything. It's totally nutrition, but it helps the body get its immune systems back in shape. It's anti-parasitic systems and biological immune systems. Like there's several different levels and stuff like that. And then the body helps get rid of it. The body heals properly. The body absorbs and ejects the tumors and such. So it does it not directly, but indirectly, it does a great job simply by making the body so much more effective. And I would definitely go with things like ivermectin and several of these things. I forget the name, Nataline or something like that. That recently I learned is gets rid of the blood clots that are left over from the spike protein thing that was going on. My mom actually died of strokes due to the blood clots from her second booster. And my dad died of turbo cancer from the just about a month after his second booster. And he had been breathing the Brown's gas before that and doing well, but then he got the shots because in order to visit his wife in the hospital, they required him to get the shots, and he stopped doing the Brown's gas for some reason, and it just died really quickly. So there are things out there that can mitigate all of these illnesses that are being imposed upon us, like even with the chemtrails and the stuff they're dropping from the sky that's destroying the soil microbiome. That's, if you look at the microbiome in our guts, it's absolutely essential, but we're destroying it with antibiotics and artificial sweeteners and all the different kinds of chemicals that we're eating or ingesting or absorbing one way or another. And therefore, the hydrogen supplementation becomes necessary because the microbiome, which breaks the carbons from the hydrogens in our hydrocarbon food, have been decimated. So we're eating food, but we're not getting the nutrition we need from it. And so we have to supplement in order to get our health back. And then it actually does help reestablish the microbiome and go on from there. So indirectly, to answer your question, it absolutely helps, but indirectly, not directly, because unlike a drug, it's nutrition.
I think it's good that we have these opportunities to talk about these things. There's not a lot of people out here would even dare. You know, these doctors and nurses out here, they're on an oath. They're on a contract. They're really tongue-tied. Truth Finder in the chat. What up, Hines? What up, brother? Truth Finder. Don't know your actual name, bro, but thanks for finding the truth. Yeah. Let's go on, man. So
yeah. So doctors, the doctors get persecuted when they do stand up, because there are a few that go take the bother to learn the truth, and then they do get persecuted. They lose their medical licenses. They all these things. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of cures for cancer, actual cures, not just mitigation, and a lot of other ailments out there. So I've been gathering some of them together, and one of these days I may publish it out on the internet somewhere. But dozens and dozens of things that are being suppressed. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, dude, that's you're absolutely right. These doctors and nurses, they want to talk, but they can't talk. Check this out, man. This is over in Virginia right now that's being rolled out. So this is part of this this data center biometric one world system. This is called adaptive ambient sync from 6G.
The public launch. But testing began years ago in controlled zones across Virginia, Osaka, and EU smart grids. And here's what they won't tell you. 6G doesn't connect your phone. It connects you. In 2023, DARPA and ATIS ran a closed pilot across federal buildings in Northern Virginia. The tech? 6G presence nodes, powered by terahertz bands that don't just transfer data, they mirror you. Each user's gait, tone, even heart rhythm became part of the signal loop. The system adjusted light, sound, even push notifications based on real-time biometric drift. It's called adaptive ambient sync, and it's not theory. In the Arlington test zone, over 200 participants unknowingly entered what the internal logs labeled a behavioral sync cluster. Result? 68% changed walking pace within 90 seconds. 52% began mirroring posture. Average voice pitch dropped 12 hertz across the zone without prompt or audio cue. This isn't cellular, it's presence modulation, backed by Samsung's 6G white paper, verified in HexaX testbeds, and buried in Appendix 9 of the Defense Communications Futures Report, blackbarred until last quarter.
We are merging with technology at an all-time rate. Are there any technologies you worry that could be affecting our water cellularly or directly? Like, have you ever seen anything that?
I can't point at anything in particular right at this instant, but I think it wouldn't take very much research to start popping up quite a few things like that. Now, we were injected, a large portion of the population.
Research. This is striking my curiosity. There was research where satellites were used to target water, and then like they would put frequency on it, and as you were saying, there's materialization and transmutation, right? But they can do that with frequencies, right? And satellites and you feel that you there?
Yeah, the connection
Right,
seems
yeah.
to be a little bit unstable right now. So yes, frequencies in water, information in water, it can be beamed
Oh, it's
into
good
water.
now.
There was a Luc Montier who discovered the AIDS virus. I met him personally when I was over in Germany one time. He was, just before he died, he was doing research on putting information in water and transmitting it over telephone lines, and having the information on DNA, for example, in water, and then having the DNA reassemble itself in water on the other side. So you could literally transport life with just the frequencies, kind of a beam me up, Scotty situation.
Could that? I'm thinking inside and outside the box right now. Could that be done with this mRNA if people are injecting themselves little microchips and they're like
Yes.
being fed within from the outside? I mean, yeah, you know.
Just this morning, I learned
That's
from a person who
that's what's happening. There's signals and it's forcing this replication, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little choppy right now. What we're gonna do, it's at the hour mark, guys. We're gonna come back with that question. We're gonna come back after the break. We're gonna take a little commercial break, and we'll come back with that question. So let's go ahead and do this. Where is it? I think that's a very powerful question. What we're thinking about right now. Hey, why can't I not go to my commercial though? This is insane. Guys, if you guys could please go like, subscribe, and share. You could donate over to 509 Divine Pines, Cash App, PayPal, buy me a coffee. You could also go over to Eagle Dash Research to check out more from George Wiseman. I'm trying to get this commercial going, and it seems to be having an issue starting this commercial. But hey, this is what happens on a live broadcast. At least I'm not over here punching my director in the back. Hey man, I don't like your camera. Imagine that. That'd be horrible. Punching my cameraman. But it's going to a commercial. It should be. Come on, man. What is up with this? Director. Cue. Yeah. Oh, I really did put the commercial and it's not playing. So let's.
Not new, what I do. I've been at it for a minute, pursuing, doing the damage. New, I would do everything that I said I would do. I gotta have it, so goddamn it, I'ma be everything I plan to be. Glad to see money coming my way, believe I'll achieve anything I put my mind to, or at least I try to. I'm avoiding my doom, manifesting my room. Meditate to ease the flow, third eye open, see the golden energy. It can enter me, get me to feeling full, forget my enemies. Dead to me, yeah, I proceed to go to a new dimension. Gotta mention it's inside our soul. Go inside, fuck the outside, never tell lies, show pride for belief. Gotta keep the range wide, so instead I just write another hit. Getting fried, rolling up, smoke another blunt for the good times, bad times makes for the good rhymes. So it never matters, I just learned, no I can't hide. Thank God for every second was birthed with the mind of an ancient soul who's just waiting for the next sign. I'm always watching, vision like a hawk, have them flocking. When I drop it, I'm talking, have them knocking. The knowledge that I'm dropping, I'm coming out the noggin, I'm logged in. That's the intuition, nothing wrong with doing what you feel is right. Everybody got this. Usually feel it in the night when I'm dropping knowledge. I never even needed any college or college. People telling people what they want, I do not wish control over anybody. Do it for the profit. That's the reason that they push it, do it from the cockpit. Cause they got the money, want the money on the mob shit. On the mob shit. But I know they ain't gon' make it, shit is poppin'. At the end of time, new age topics. Revolutionary crusade cross. Here we go to a new space. Yeah, we enter in a new place. Louis V on my shoelace, rolling with the blue face. Yeah, I'm wondering what you chase. Just another dude caught up in the rat race. Moving my pace, lot of people looking at me sideways. I chase future preparations, gotta go through my phase till I feel ready to rearrange it. Happen on a daily basis, tripping oasis. When so many people that I can't see through their faces and touch, so I'm reading minds, feel like I'm evasive, persuasive. Cause I feel the vibe, manipulation, I'm patient. Yeah, I feel the vibe, then work to change it. Manifestation, blessings is what I'm chasing. Quantum physics, I'm about to take the time and rearrange it. I play with reality, can't feel like I'm basic. Most people shut it down, don't wanna embrace it. Replacing knowledge.
I don't know if you can hear me, but you were frozen there, Joseph.
I was here. I accidentally turned off my that was me. I accidentally turned off my mic and sorry guys. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So, right before the break, we were talking about resonance and transmutation, and thinking it's very, very possible that these medicines, these experimental procedures, and these vaccines are from within resonating their own frequencies, and it is actually within the mRNA's technology itself to do that, correct?
Yes, that's exactly the kind of thing that I was learning even just this morning. There was a guy here who's been doing some research on that particular thing, and there's a whole bunch of things that were in the RNA injections that had nothing to do with the vaccine. There was a bunch of things put in there that are now being proven to be able to be manipulated by 5 and 6G towers. It literally can feed the information. So this thing where the guy was talking about the body being part of the system is absolutely true. And when they're giving these various mRNA injections, they're populating, similar to Star Trek with the Borg. I don't know if very many people have watched Star Trek these days, but the Borg situation, it seems to me almost like that, where the everybody becomes part of the collective, and thinks the thoughts that the computer tells them to think and stuff. It's I know this sounds very science fiction-y, but honest to God,
not here.
This is really coming out. Yeah,
this is all truth here. This is not science fiction here.
I'm glad to hear it. And one of the things that I've noticed too is that people have gotten away from what we call terrain theory into the bacterial or bug theory and stuff. But there's a lot of the illnesses and ailments out there have nothing to do with the bacteria or viruses. First of all, viruses aren't alive. It's shown that they are actually something called exosomes, which a person could actually think of as mail that cells use to communicate with each other. So they send off this little mail packet, which can actually go from one body to another body, and then that other body gets the information in this little mail packet and responds appropriately. So that I think that's mostly what they're calling viruses. But so the terrain theory, if you think about it, I have a little example from when I was a kid. I was raised on a cattle ranch. And one 4-H project, it wasn't my 4-H project, but one calf that was put in a 4-H project was sent out onto the range with a chain still around its neck that had a little tag calling it, its name and stuff like that. But as the calf grew into from a heifer into a cow, the chain stayed the same size, but the cow grew, so the chain was embedded right into the cow's neck. Gross, I know. And it was an open wound right around the entire cow's neck. And the flies were putting their eggs in there, and their larvae, the little maggots and stuff, were growing right in around this cow's neck. So, but it was a healthful thing. It saved the cow's life because the maggots were eating the dead flesh, and therefore they were necessary in the ecology of what was going on. So I roped the cow. I took the chain out, and that cow survived, mainly because of the flies and the maggots. Similar thing happens with terrain theory in our own bodies. We get off balance in one way or another. Something caused that, and then for the terrain, the particular bacteria or whatever thrive in that particular off balance situation. Whereas if the body was healthful, they couldn't survive. It would be protected. So when you have something with an illness with bacteria and stuff, you should be looking at why they're there rather than just trying to get rid of them. Because antibiotics, the miracle that they are, and they've saved a lot of lives, are also on the other side. They have their good side and they have their bad side. You're getting rid of the good bacteria at the same time as the bad bacteria. So this is really important to get your body back into balance. And you can only do that if you understand the terrain theory of health. I'm not hearing what you're saying. Is your mic muted by chance?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I was. Hey, so oh man, it's possible that these technologies could be creating virus patterns and parasitic patterns, and instead of actually getting us healthy, they're just kind of transmutating us to be a sick individual, a thriving sick individual, though. Almost. And what's wild is that recently I saw that there was tests done on different animals where and different creatures, spiders, rats, different beings that they've done where they are able to feed these little creatures parasites or little robot chips or nanochips, and they're able to keep these things alive through these small little micro technologies where they're able to just like send pulses to the brain and make it think it's alive, but it's really dead. So it's a brain dead being walking around through a lively forest. And that's kind of what's happening all across humanity. Like we're seeing a split like between actual life and body and thriving and understanding. There are people walking around where like openly now it's like, how are they still living? We see them and like they're very sick. They're not making proper health choices. They're extremely either like out of shape or overweight, and like these 500, 600 pounders. What the fuck is this? There was this show called My 1,000-Pound Sisters. So 2 500-pound sisters, both of them died. Like, but like, oh come on, man, this is insane. What's happening, and it's a mutation. It's I like to think that there's something that happened around World War I, World War II with the integration of the humans elites and most powerful and ritualistic going and using entities for their daily population. So like 100 years ago, let's just say like a lot of the Masonic institutions, they saw that the native tribes were very interactive with creatures like Bigfoot and these other creatures out here. They knew that these shamans could cause Skinwalker Ranch to to be protected by these spirits and entities, these crafts, these ethereal beings, and they were protectors of it. Well, they started going to war with it for some reason, and then we see in 1940s, World War II kicks off. They go the occult, the dark occult, Masonic, ultra rich elite Zionist type of war industries. They moved down into Antarctica with their summoning, and Hitler and Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley were both ultra successive in their rituals to contact demonic type entities, and these things, the government started getting involved with using these demonic entities for our population. And so whether it was the GMOs or whether it was the perversion of the music going from 432 to 444, or whether it's the pharmaceutical industry, aka sorcery, aka witchcraft, or whether it was the perversion of Hollywood, starting to influence a lot of demons and clowns being related to ancient Nephilims. So there was a whole influx of ideology, spirituality, biology that was constantly attacked. Like, it was, well, there's something natural here, very protective and sacred, and then World War I, World War II shifted it into Stranger Things. Like, I'm sorry for using my hands so much, but like there was a veil that was unleashed, and so there was like a Stranger Things, and suddenly we started being influenced by the demonic realms, the demonic aspects, all of our food, all of our biology, all of our knowledge, everything around us. It went from free energy to controlled energy, and where we're at right now, it seems that we have the industry of medicine, I think, being used and manipulated, operated by demonic forces from another realm. And so what we're seeing is literally like patterns and repetitions. Frequencies and patterns being integrated into our biology from another source. And I when I meditate, bro, this is something I've talked on other podcasts with other people and UFOs, people who talk about that. Like, when I've meditated and looked into technology, like I've sat here and try to look like from my spirit in meditation to phones and computers and technology. It leads me to the other side of where this all connects is like a demonic base of like we would call them reptilians, or we would call them fallen angels or some shit. But what I know is that these ultra elite too, Zuckerbergs and all of these guys, they come from these families, and these families actually admit, yes, we do interact with these beings. Aleister Crowley and both Hitler were part of that establishment of success. And so if they say that they get these technologies from other beings, I'm meditating, I'm seeing that these technologies are coming from other beings, and everybody else around is questioning, like, hey, these things are like, is this shit really alien, demonic? I'm at the firm belief that what we're seeing right now is um an integration of otherworldly technology to go ahead and overtake the human population from the within, from within, where we see the New World Order, Davos. They're like, what do we want to do? We want to merge humans with technology. We want to have it consciousness under our control. They can live however long they want, whatever. You can be lifeless, pretty much infinite, live forever. You just merge your body and mind to a technology. It's under our control, and that's kind of where they're pushing it. I was having a conversation with Neuralink. My my buddy about Neuralink. I was having a conversation with my buddy about Neuralink. I'm thinking so far in the future. Sometimes my words come out quick. I was having a conversation where, like, Neuralink and these brain chips, right? Who's to know what's on the other side when these companies are like, yeah, we have a super AI. It's like, okay, one of them is Siri, one of them is this and that. There's Grok, there's Open AI, there's all these things. Okay, these brain chips that the New World Order wants to merge us with, it wants to pretty much be like a Neuralink, where it connects to us feeds us data. It connects us to a consciousness. It's like Halo, the video game and show Halo behind me over here. Let's see. Halo. Bam. Um, so in there, he's a super elite super soldier, right? Oh shit. He's a super soldier, and this super soldier is merged with a technology like a consciousness. It's called Cortana. It's like an AI consciousness that a scientist built. The scientist got outed by the government for being too, she was too ballsy. She was building a AI super chip, super soldier. She was cloning herself. So the government didn't want her working anymore. So they went to war against her. Well, anyways, she built a brain chip in this where it could talk to the super soldier. It could feed him information. It could control him. There was a point where she's like, I'm going to have to do this. I'm sorry. And she shuts the human's body down completely and overtakes him. She's in control. The chip is in control. The consciousness is in control. And who's to say that what if these consciousness aren't just some other entity tapping in, hacking into us? That's where it's kind of going. And it's been that way for about 100 years, I believe, where we have seen, I hate to say it, but humans aren't humans anymore. Humans don't have muscle. They don't have bronze. Alphas aren't alphas anymore. Men are all betas. Women are all females. People are choosing suicidal therapy. People are not realizing that they cannot be walking around, extremely overweight and with these cancers, with these red 40s, with all this shit that's completely poisonous. That people don't understand the resonance of. They're barely understanding the poison, but they're not understanding the resonance, and they're not understanding what it's doing to our spirituality. And that's kind of where we're seeing some of these people choose like 30 flags. Oh, I support everything. It's all one religion. What the fuck? No, it ain't. It ain't one religion, you fucking idiot. And like, come on, man. I'm sorry for the profanity over here, guys, but this is a real topic. Like, humanity is under attack from within. And just to think that the War of the Worlds radio broadcast was the first Project Blue Beam type of operation. It was like, hey, let's see if we can get the whole world tricked. It worked, and now they ran with it.
Yeah, people are seeing and hearing things that aren't necessarily true, and AI is making it a huge thing where you can't trust what you're seeing anymore, even on television or what have you, because it's so real. And you're talking about Halo and stuff, and these people are doing their games. My son is into programming some of these games and stuff, and things that they can do is absolutely phenomenal. Just simple little things like people say they take a picture on their cell phone and you can remove the background, or you can remove this person or that person, and it does. It just amazing. But you can put things in as well that weren't there before. So and that can feed right into the mind, right into like we're talking electronics there, but they're making the person themselves into these electronic input and output things. So you're really, the matrix is, I think we already live in a matrix, but they're making a whole nother level here from within the matrix. So yeah, a lot of these programs out there, people take as science fiction and stuff, aren't so much science fiction anymore. They're being reality. It's insane and incredible, and I'm not sure where it's going to go. I do see biblical type forecasting or stuff happening now, things coming true that were prophesized 2,000 years ago, and the technology builds on itself to the point where it can become really simple now. The technology will exist, especially with these data centers, for the what do they call it? The mark of the beast kind of thing, where if you don't have this particular coding in your body, you can't buy or sell anything. You won't be able to live in civilization the way it is, which I'm actually quite fine with, because I grew up as a farmer or rancher in the middle of the backwoods in British Columbia. So I'm quite good with just going out and growing my own food and making my own life. I don't need to have too much civilization around me. But most people are not like that. There's billions of people on the planet. They either have to comply with the powers that be, or they'll die. And there seems to be an agenda to kill off maybe 90% of the people anyway. If whoever can't be controlled and stuff. So, man, I have no idea what's coming, but it doesn't look good to me right now.
So you're talking about your son being a programmer, man. Speaking of that, just for an instance, I saw a video and I'm trying to find it right now. There was recently a programmer, well, video from the like 2000s or 90s of one of these computer programmers creating the very first like portal. So like they were showing how they can create portals in the game and manipulate like space and time within the game, and it looked like witchcraft. It looked very, very much like witchcraft. And I think computer science, in a sense, it almost is a stemming of what these angels or fallen angels. And to be honest, angels and fallen angels have the very same DNA. It's just depending on how they use their knowledge. And so, like, it's almost a technology from them, this what we see, computers and actually I know for a fact it is. When I look at the computer boards, it's very much shaped in the patterns of sigils. We see the names of all these technologies named after very occult essences ever since the stemming of NASA, which is where computers kind of even needed their first operations. We see everything ran by the occult ideology of demonic names influenced into this. Even the sigils, the 72 sigils of the Enoch and the fallen angel, I mean not Enoch, the Lesser Keys of Solomon, where they're very influenced into the 72 original emojis in 1998, and they're actually the same emoji pattern. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, I'll show you something. Well, look, so computers ever since the start, yeah, we know who they are. We know who the creators are. But like this is also boiled down into food now. Because they're using computer sciences on food and water and all of this. They're rewriting every code, every biological DNA pattern. They're using CRISPR. They're using a gene editing device on food. And what's it doing on a biological level? I believe it is merging us with what we would we would call the Martians or these other entities. It's actually very prophetic to be biblical, right? In biblical times they said like pharmakia would be strong in around the end times. It would kind of like rule the world in a sense. Witchcraft, demons would walk around the world at the end times. It is very, very prophetic, even to know that when we see the Bible say, like in a sense, Lucifer's walking and controlling this world, and we look at the power players and they're openly doing demonic type of stuff. We see at CERN, we see at these other type of big institutions, these Davoses and all these, they have shamans doing some weird witchcraft singing. Woo, I don't even want to replicate it, but yeah, it's very strange. Here, watch this.
Replicating
I'll show
it,
you about this.
or
I'm
even
surprised
talking about it.
you don't know this video right here. About sorry. Excuse me, sorry. I can hear you now.
Okay, so yeah, replicating it or even talking about it causes a huge, how do you say, bias toward making it real. So part of the ritual is to get everybody thinking about it, because we create our own realities. And even during the time,
but in the conscious space, in the Akashic space, we are the warriors, and so we must battle it with words, because that is who we are. We are standing up against a multi-dimensional metaphysical force, and so they're using ether, they're using ki, prana, and so we must be the opposition to let people know what words and what energy and what forces that we must be actually standing against. I do understand that aspect where it is like we're summoning it, but not really. I don't think so. When I meditate enough, like there's, you know, when we look at like the Bible too, even in spirit, and Jesus is enough to battle against these dudes, make these dudes fear and shake and tremble. You know, being the light and holding the light is, and speaking of the light makes these demons tremble. Here, let's look at this real quick.
No, I haven't. There's this book, King Solomon in the Bible. He's the one that was able to tame every single demon. And he wrote a book. And in the book, he wrote these sigils, which would control, but also summon certain demons. What the heck? And guess how many there were? 78. 72 exactly. Secretly, every single emoji fan is actually a demonic sigil to summon a demon. Check this out.
Wait, what do you mean?
Whoa. You see that? The X is on the eyes. You see this?
Oh, it like recreated, but this is his actual.
So if you want to know actually how this is related, George, so what happened was over in the biblical times, we see how King Solomon was around the Oman, the kingship of Oman, and the Sultan of Oman, right? The Queen of Sheba, right? In the Bible, you know, King Solomon makes this deal with the Queen of Sheba, and you know, she will trade him so much money and gold, and he will trade her all the knowledge, right? And everything that she would ever ask for, and so forth. Are you correct? You remember?
That sounds right.
So in there, if you look, yeah, so you look back and where this Queen of Sheba was, and it's right at the Sultan of Oman, and so you follow it all into, oh man, this is a very, very cool teaching. If you follow it all the way into the 1900s, well, there was this archaeologist, what's his name? He goes over to Oman, and he must find something, because the kingship of Oman, let's see if I can even get to what's his name. The kingship of Oman trades this archaeologist pretty much billions or millions, and I'm trying to find the actual video that I love to represent this. And so pretty much this archaeologist says he found some secrets from the emojis are demon. He pretty much finds out that this, gosh, let me get it. Let me just play the video right here, brother. Oh my God. Very, very fascinating. That these sigils are directly related to this.
Greetings,
right here,
students.
Sorry.
Today I want to talk to you about something with which many of you may all.
Right here.
When I was out walking the commons, I noticed something peculiar about these. When I inquired as to why they might possibly be doing this, I was shown a long scroll containing words and sigils. These sigils caught my eye. Why scatter these symbols throughout their communications?
We use emojis all the time when we text.
To express something that can't really be expressed through word, I guess. They're fun.
Realizing that the students were completely enthralled to these symbols with literally no clue why they were using them, I realized I must do some research on my own. The organization behind the proliferation of emojis is called Unicode. This organization approves successive waves of emojis to be released to various platforms. Very good, I thought. But who is Unicode? Their website is very open with this information. Unicode is a consortium of firms that have stakes in the technology industry. There are various tiers of membership, but the top rank is reserved for those major firms with a keen interest in controlling emoji content. Facebook, Google, and the Sultanate of Oman's Religious Affairs Division. This last firm caught my eye. Why would the Sultanate of Oman care about emojis? The King James Bible, 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 1 through 14, describe a deal struck between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. And when the Queen of Sheba heard the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to him with hard questions. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. This riddling test is very peculiar. The queen has some secret knowledge which she wants to determine if King Solomon has as well, and the result sounds as though he proves to have even greater knowledge than she does. But knowledge concerning what? There is a grimoire that was published around 1650 entitled The Lesser Key of Solomon. The book claims to have been written by King Solomon himself, and the first section, the Ars Goetia, contains instructions for summoning 72 demons. These include magical seals necessary for uttering the demon's name and bringing it to the sorcerer's presence. The physical crafting of these seals is said to be one of the highest magical arts. Verse 10, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and of spices very great store, and precious stones. And King Solomon gave unto the Queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty. After the riddling contest, she pays King Solomon quite a hefty sum, and what he gives her in return is shrouded in mystery. Whatsoever she asked, what are we to do with this? Verse 14, now the weight in gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. Yes, that's right, 666. What is the author trying to tell us here? Is it possible that what King Solomon traded to the Queen of Sheba for 666 talents of gold were a full set of original demonic seals? Let's fast forward to the 20th century. An American archaeologist in his late 20s named Wendell Phillips began an expedition in 1955 to unearth the holdings of the Queen of Sheba. These included diverse archaeological sites in Yemen and, you may have guessed this one already, Oman. The local superstitious tribesmen tried to expel the intruder, eventually going so far as to raid his camp and abduct hostages. But something eventually caused them to reverse course on him. Ultimately, Phillips became the second Westerner ever to become a tribal sheik. Could it be that Phillips uncovered the original seals given to the Queen of Sheba? This would certainly explain what followed after. Just as we have no clear record in our sources of what Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba, so we do not know what Phillips gave to the Sultan of Oman, but we do know how Phillips was compensated. According to his New York Times obituary, soon after Philip's unearthing of the Queen of Sheba's palace, he was granted enormous concessions by the Omani government, enough to make him the world's largest individual holder of oil concessions at the time. So, what does all of this have to do with emojis? Consider this. Unicode 8 was released the same year the Omani government joined the Unicode Consortium. It is this version known as the occult edition of Unicode, and in which the zodiacal signs were implemented. Moreover, in Unicode 8, there are 72 face core emojis. 72. The same number as the number of demonic powers in the Ars Goetia. One side note here, the actual version of the emojis published by the Unicode is this sigilistic black and white version, which is much closer to the original seals than the cartoonized, fully rendered versions available on devices. And so, what is the occult content of Unicode 8? My belief is that the Omani government's Religious Affairs Division created correspondences between, on the one hand, each of the goetic seals in their possession from Phillips, and on the other hand, the 72 emojis which had been developed partially under their own influence. And so, by comparing the goetic seals to the emojis, one can see where the Omani government had their influence and what the correspondences actually are. Dizzy face is Marbus. Face with look of triumph is Baal. Nerd face is Malthus, so on and so forth. This sequence of 72 emojis is followed by a coda signifying the end of the magical sequence, 3 symbols of death, 2 symbols of alienation, and 1 symbol of a soulless automaton. The meaning of this 3-2-1 sequence is that the occult communication ends there. This is reinforced in 2 ways. First, the countdown of 3-2-1 is a sequence indicating completion and winding down. Second is the sequence of death, alienation, automatation. This is literally an illustration of a spirit leaving a body, but here represents the spiritual content leaving the corpus of the text of course being Unicode 8. What is most unnerving here is the degree to which all of this was done in plain sight. Now we've got them by their noses. The world is an open text for us to read. We have identified the major processes of this conspiracy. But what I want to know is, what have they been doing with this power? And how has it been affecting us? I will be covering this information in my next video. I would like to thank the Canarsie.
George, did you know that at all?
I did not. That was really eye-opening. Wow.
So if you look at Microsoft and you look at IBM, you look at all these computer organizations, they fall in right with that. And I've looked at chips. There was this very interesting, fucking super interesting. I forgot what it is. It was like one of the world's first major processing chips in the 90s. And they were like, oh, this is the world's first super chip or whatever. And on the computer and on the first edition, the manufacturer was like inscribing demonic and like hieroglyphic and super occultic things into it. And if you look at the patterns of the way that these, lines go in all these directions and how it's kind of very similar to these ancient, pyramids of Giza and all these ancient megalithic structures and sites. And people speculate how they are computer chips and codes. There's very, very, very much a pattern here, and it's spiritual influence. It could be angelic, could be demonic, could be both.
Wow. Yeah, the evidence is the correlation is pretty strong.
So now let's get back into how this would be affecting water. So everybody around, all of our technologies, all of us are currently like at the disposition of what I like to say an occult playground right now. We have these black scrying devices that everybody is staring and gazing into. The crystals that are inside these technologies are, they're probably reading brains. The emojis are everywhere. Now, as I was saying earlier, it's like people are being influenced and like hypnotized and shown dark magic, and they're just soaking it up, and everyone's just eating it up. So now let's talk about something real quick. You said you had an upgrade to your AC 130. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So the Aquacure AC 50 was for many years has been our flagship workhorse. It's been doing a great job. There's many thousands of them out there, and the testimonials are coming in great. But it was upgraded from the EA H160, which was the original Aquacure, and then even before that we had something called the ER50. So we've been helping people with Brown's Gas for Health since 2007, but really even before that, I was using Brown's Gas for fuel savers, and what we call water torches. So actually replacing the acetylene in a torch with the Brown's gas, which does the same work at 2% of the cost. Actually does better work. It cuts faster, uses less oxygen. The cuts are less heat hardened. So anyway, my point is we've been doing this technology with Brown's gas since 1986, and over the years we have gradually gone away from the things like fuel savers and water torches and stuff. That technology is totally valid and is used extensively in the Asian countries, particularly China. So but Brown's gas for health wasn't really discovered or even brought to my attention until 1986, when a customer took bubbled Brown's gas in water and put it on a cotton ball in a plastic cap and taped it on a melanoma on his forehead. And in 3 weeks' time, the melanoma was gone. I didn't believe him. But I did let people know that this potential application for health was out there, and and a lot of people did experiment. They were experimenting with plants, getting 4 times to 10 times faster growth. They bubbled water instead of air into fish tanks, and fish were growing 3 times faster. It was just amazing the different things that Brown's gas was doing for water-based life forms, whether it be fish, lizards, plants, mammals, birds. It didn't matter if it's water-based. The Brown's gas does a good job. So by 2005, they convinced me to try it myself, bubbling in water and drinking the Brown's gas water. And then they started asking, can we inhale the gas? And I said, I don't think it's a good idea to inhale a combustible gas. But in December of 2015, a customer sent me a video of a Taiwanese hydrogen bar that was, people could go off and buy an inhalation treatment like we buy a cup of coffee, go off the street. And I realized that I had been wrong all that time, which you can see I'm actually inhaling the Brown's gas. But because if you keep the hydrogen in the air under the lower combustible limit, it's not explosive. It's not combustible. And that lower limit is 4.7% hydrogen in air. And what we recommend is inhaling at a 2% hydrogen. And there's now been thousands of scientific studies showing that Brown's gas or hydrogen in water and the inhalation of hydrogen, and 2% is the scientifically now verified maximum or optimal therapeutic benefit. So there's no sense going higher than 2% because you're not going to get any additional benefit. So in March of 2016, I was able to, my late wife died. In December of 2015, I wasn't able to do anything about this discovery, this revelation, because I was a 24/7 caretaker of my late wife. So when she died in 2016, and I was going through grief, severe to the point where my chest had hurt because I hadn't even taken a breath, and I was just sitting on the couch, and I looked over at my shoulder, and I saw this ER50, which people were using to bubble, and I was too, bubble the Brown's gas in water. Instead of buying an $8,000 water torch, for a few $100s, you could make your own assembly there. So I decided I would inhale it myself, and with the and I videotaped myself with that first inhalation, and that's still up on my YouTube channel. And you can see I actually look younger now than I did in March of 2016. So
yeah, bro, you don't age. You actually de-age. You get younger.
Yeah, it was quite dramatic at first, where I was reversing age, and now I seem to be stable at looking kind of like I do right now. So I discovered that I got a lot of health benefits, and I didn't do it to be healthful. I did it just to prove that it was safe, because all these years from 2007 till 2016, I was telling people that I didn't recommend it because I was questioning its safety. And it turned out it's not only safe, but it's efficacious. Okay, so safe and efficacious, just like the commercials say about the stuff that really wasn't. Okay, so about 3 months after I told people that they could inhale the gas, a woman got back to me and said that her lupus symptoms were gone in 3 weeks time. Lupus is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks itself and eventually causes organs to fail and stuff. And that's what my late wife died of. So here I was was absolutely floored. And this is where I call my Jonah moment, where as I laid there on the carpeting and crying myself out, I realized that God had been trying to show me that Brown's Gas for Health all this time for decades. And so in order to justify and honor my late wife's death, I made a commitment to help as many people as possible, not go through the pain and suffering that we did, because it's not just the person that's sick, it's their support systems as well that are helping them try to get better or just manage the illness. And also, we were $300,000 in debt by that time because I couldn't work and we were spending our savings and mortgaged our house and maxed out credit cards and everything in order to try to get this woman health again, because illness is really detrimental in every possible way, physically, emotionally, financially, all these things. So I say, if you don't have your health, you've got nothing. So I'm helping a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people, be healthier. And people are buying, like one guy bought 5 additional aquacures for his family because he wanted his whole family to be healthful after he got gains for himself. Anyway, so I had this collection of pipes, this assembly of pipes that my now current wife told me no woman would want that in her house. So if we're going to help a lot of people, including women, we had to come up with something better. And that's when the aquacure was born in its original structure as the EAH 160. And then over time, after a couple of years, it got upgraded to the aquacure AC 50. And now we've recently come out with another version, the upgrade with the AC 60, which has things like a drain. Now, you wouldn't think that's a really significant thing, but there are a lot of people out there that can't lift a 16-pound apparatus and turn it over to drain it out. And so being able just to turn a valve and drain it was a huge change. And then there was a whole bunch of other things that we changed inside to make it easier for the customers to use and even more reliable than, because right now we have a lifetime warranty, lifetime manufacturer's warranty. Well, we've had that even on the AC50. So if anything breaks, it's a manufacturer error for the life that you own the machine. We'll fix that. We'll pay the postage, the shipping, the labor, the parts, everything to make sure your machine maintains itself. And we also have a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. And we've had this for some period of time now, many years. So people can try it. Give it a try. See, it'll do good for you. So we have this new machine that's even easier to maintain than the AC50. There's nothing wrong with the AC50. It's a great workhorse. We've sold many, many thousands of them. But now we're really proud, pleasure to present. My team worked really hard to get this AC60 design so that people can get even a more benefit because it's easier to maintain the machine. So you can go to the eagle-research.com website and look in the e-store, and you can see the AC50. We're still selling it. It's a lower price, but we're also selling now the new AC60 design, which is easier to use, easier for the customers. And be sure to use that 509 Divine Pines code to get an even greater gain on the a discount off both the AC60 and the AC50. Yeah, so that's the new machine. It looks very similar to the AC50, but it doesn't have a sight tube. We've done things like put another bracket on the side so you can have your drinking water jar attached to it as well, so it doesn't get accidentally tipped over and things like that. So it's a great, a really great little machine.
Yeah, this looks better and sleeker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Everybody out there. There's the back. Got some fan plugins. Here's who's this? Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, we've got athletes. There's an entire soccer team that came over from Europe and asked if they could rent machines temporarily while they were playing over here in America.
Nice.
Because they left their machines back over in the, and there's a hockey player, a draft pick that is in a Scandinavian country. I forget which one right now. I want to say Norway, but I'm not sure. And anyway, he says his wounds heal faster, like if it's a sprain or anything like that, up to 3 times faster. His reactions and his strength is faster on the ice, and he can think better. He makes better decisions with the puck. He's very happy with the aquacure. We have a chiropractor that runs marathons, and every marathon he beats his own time. So it doesn't just get rid of the ailments that you have. Virtually every ailment known to man seems to be helped with the Brown's gas, but then it optimizes the people getting the best possible version of themselves. It's a great technology.
Yeah, I guess we have depleted a lot of our hydration and our cellular modulation, where we're able to like regenerate our own properties and keep us thermogenically balanced and things like that. Because like it's what happened with society. Society kind of got unhealthy, but no, this will help out a lot of people who want to take that extra step in athleticism and performance, and it's a good thing to actually supercharge our cells and our I don't know the actual term for the process of hydration, but like whatever that process is, if we keep it at its highest level, our body will perform and do things that we actually never knew before. Like I'm, for instance, like just even small bit, like I drink way more water now than I ever have before, and I don't get dehydrated or sweaty, and I don't feel that gunk and funk that I ever used to, armpit stinking and feeling all sticky and just weird, like my body is balanced and flushing itself out so much easier, better, faster, quicker, because there's just more water. And if you like supercharge that water, I can only imagine it just flushes you faster and cleaner. All the soreness and fatigue and brain fatigue can be healed up real quick from the supercharged water. And to say like it heals them faster, that goes into the easy gel. What is this easy gel? While we for the next 10 minutes.
I'll try to be quick.
Yeah, there's 10 minutes before break. So.
Yeah, so easy gel is where there's a Professor Gerald Pollack in the University of Washington discovered that when you have a hydrophilic, which means water-loving surface, and water contacts that surface, it forms this exclusion zone. So EZ, and he called it the fourth phase of water, which was a misnomer. So in it's H3O2 negative, and it forms spontaneously from water when water touches a hydrophilic surface. Inside our bodies, everything is hydrophilic. It's all water loving in there. So the Easy Gel solved 3 major medical mysteries. First, the heart does not make enough pressure to push blood through all the thousands of miles of capillaries that are in our body. And secondly, our red blood cells are twice the size of our capillaries. So why don't they just plug it up like a cork? And third, why does the blood flow to all our extremities, from the tip of my pointy head to the tips of our fingers to the tips of our toes? Why do we get even blood flow everywhere? So there's 3 medical mysteries are solved by this EZ gel. And then we'll get into why it's important with Brown's gas after that. So first of all, gel is slippery. And secondly, this has a negative charge. So like charges repel. So that's why the red blood cells can slide through the capillaries. They just form into a sausage shape and slide through the capillaries. But then Professor Pollack discovered a really major, this is like the discovery of fire. This is Nobel Prize winning stuff. I don't know why he hasn't already gotten the Nobel Prize. This is astonishing. When you have a capillary, a size tube, a very small tube that is coated with the EZ gel, and that's what I'm saying before, is everything is hydrophilic. So the EZ gel forms on the outside of all the red blood cells and things like that, and on the inside of all the capillaries, everything is hydrophilic. So when you have that small of a tube, it starts pumping solution spontaneously without a pump. Okay, this is insane. and it's happening in every water-based life form. So, and we can get to more of that in just a second. But this is why,
because everything's living.
And all water-based life forms require this effect, this EZ gel. So we have a heart that doesn't produce enough pressure to pump through the capillaries, but all it has to do is get the blood to the capillaries, and the capillaries do the pumping. So there's the last two medical mysteries solved right there. First of all, the heart doesn't need to produce the pressure. The capillaries do the pumping. And because the capillaries are doing the pumping, it makes sure the blood flow goes from all the points to the extremities of your body. So all these things are done by the EZ gel. Now, when I was speaking at a conference, a water conference in Bad Soden, Germany in 2019, it happened that Professor Pollack was in the front row. And when it got to the question and answer period, he said, "I know, George, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail." And he says, "Can you tell me how Brown's gas will affect the EZ gel in a body?" And I said, "I don't know. I can't tell you right now, but let's find out." So during the pandemic time, I was cooperating with and we were doing studies with the University of Washington, and we discovered, simply put, that if you add oxygen to water, it doesn't affect the EZ gel very much. Almost very microscopically. You have to look at this gel with a microscope anyway, because it's such a thin layer. But if you put hydrogen in the water, nothing happens, pretty much nothing. So the hydrogen itself is not causing any change in the EZ gel. But if you put Brown's gas in the water, and Brown's gas is made of hydrogen, oxygen, and electrically expanded water. And with this electrically expanded water, it's bioavailable electrons, but those electrons help the EZ gel expand a minimum of 300%, 3 times, okay? And if you continue to bubble it in the water, it continues to expand. And I have a jar that I was bubbling the Brown's gas of water in for quite a few months. And the EZ gel got to the point where you could actually see it with the naked eye. You didn't have to use a microscope. And there are some people that have seen the floaters. There's the gel floaters in the water that they've made. And that's probably the most healthful substance on the planet, this H3O2 negative. Your body absolutely requires it. It's what plumps up your cells. And you need those bioavailable electrons as well. They stop oxidative cascade. They take care of oxidative damage. They provide the body with the energy it needs to do everything it needs to do. What I say is there's 3 different things that the body needs to heal. You need energy, nutrition, and intelligence. Well, energy is provided when you're inhaling with the Brown's gas with these bioavailable electrons. It's directly bioavailable energy. The nutrition is the hydrogen, which is like a brick. It's a building block. It doesn't do anything until energy can move it, and intelligence tells it where to go. And hydrogen is part of every chemical process in the body. Everything is made of either directly or indirectly uses hydrogen. So you absolutely have to have the hydrogen in your body, sufficient reserves of hydrogen. And your body has the intelligence to know where to put the hydrogen if given the energy necessary to do it. So that's where the EZ gel comes in, and why it's absolutely essential. And then even living life forms that have no heart, that don't even have a heart, like plants, they can have this capillary type action that allows the fluids to flow from the roots to the trees. Even if the tree is 150 feet high, it can do that. But they were thinking that the water evaporating off the leaves would cause a vacuum that would pull the water from the roots. But that would only work up to 32 feet. After 32 feet, the air pressure wouldn't be causing enough of a pressure to cause that to happen. But all that has to do is generate enough of a difference to cause the fluids to flow a certain direction. Just like our heart causes just enough pressure to have the fluid flow the correct direction, so that the tubes in the capillaries go the right way from the arteries to the veins, rather than the other way around or something like that. So this is why it's really important. This EZ gel is absolutely vital, and the Brown's gas helps the EZ gel form and all the other things in the body. So there you go. Easy, Jeff.
What this reminded me of, you had said it helped this gel grow 300%. It's electrically charged water in a sense, right? It's electrically charged. Have you ever checked like the electric voltage on what normal water, if you like check, with voltage, what normal water is versus what your Brown's gas water is?
Yes. There's several different ways that can be done. An easy way for people
is it higher?
Is to get an ORP meter. It's actually, people think of it
higher?
as lower. The potential difference is higher, but the actual charge is negative. Okay, electrons are negatively charged. So the more negative, like if you're testing for ORP, oxygen reduction potential, the more negative the water, the better it is. Okay, so the positively charged water actually is deficient in electrons and actually absorbs energy from your body. So if you have an ORP that's positive, it actually is sucking energy from you. So you want an ORP that is as negative as possible without putting a bunch of stuff in there, like
voltage there. So there's lower voltage in that water,
but where the potential difference is greater. So there's a higher potential difference.
Voltage, like
but
if
the
we
actual
put like
voltage measures negative. That's right.
Oh, okay. Well then it wouldn't really match my theory. But what I was thinking of for just some reason before we get to break is that how UFOs, when they land in these spots out there in the fields, is when the research shows that the bulbs and the plants have grown like 300%. Those little nodes, they go from very small up to very supercharged. It was like the life within it, the water within it, everything just got stronger, better, bigger. I mean, I guess Brown's gas, that's what it's doing to us, guys.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Let's go ahead, and we're gonna head to another break real quick. This commercial will run better, for sure. Afterwards, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with how data centers and the rest of these natural living flowing water states and life and animals and all of us are important right now. Like we should be, I guess as a human race, this is our next biggest war. Fuck the war on oil. The war on water is 10 times bigger, 10 times more realer. We'll be back after this break, guys.
Gonna go far, that's what we on the run for, go hard. Sipping gin while we sitting, spitting those bars. Getting rich, got a vision, get the show cards. Lot of money laying around cause we go hard, always go hard. Spitting fire, see the sonar, hope they resonate with the vibe. Feel like Mozart, really I'm alive in my soul, feel like Mozart. That's what hoes are, too explosive so I show art. Yeah, I make art, sad to see people with no heart. I work to replace all of the negative, I go far with it. I'ma show all of these bitches, no complaining if you with it. Don't you dream me, see the vision, need my energy, the mission. Really take all my precision every single day. I picture where I'll be the day we get it. Feed the brothers, feed the fam. I don't really give a damn. I don't wanna get famous. I wanna lend a hand. Give the cash and rubber bands to the people always standing on my side, always down the ride. Say I planned it. I'm the guy, like the supersized on the planet. In my mind, I don't gotta try, I already have it. I'll be doing damage. I was born a savage. In my mind, I already died, living lavish. Heaven is a state of mind, be glad if you have it. Living in a simulation, be patient to grab it. Universe will bring it to you if you ain't an average. If you live an average, then Satan found to manage your life. I'm just trying to tell you, if you gonna roll the dice, gamble in your life instead of living precise. I ain't perfect, but I'm gonna earn it. No, it don't concern anybody but my person. Lesson that I learned is that people are gonna burn. Anything you do, they gonna pay the price. Nothing nice come in life for the dipshits. They just wish shit, never gonna manifest it. Never catch me resting, short-term blessings. I just want my brain to work so I can write my next hit. Ignite the blessings, manifest my life, never question a moment in my life. I be knowing that it's meant to be, this my destiny. All the rest of my life really history. The day that I'm finally gone, they'll be missing me. Your position be the reason that I'm gone. 200 songs done, I've been on the run. I ride a wave, make a way, I'm the one. I stay the same, but I'm changing a ton. Rearranging my brain for the gains through the sun. I've been absorbing the light, I could say that I won. At least I'm conscious of what I'm doing, praying a ton. Relay all the information, staying patient with the shit. I write a hit just to get through all the shit. I ain't a bitch, so I'll make it. I ain't dealing with the prick, I'm finna take over the game. Really, I'm getting in, I'm really glad that you're here to witness it. I'm about to fix entire rap game. You could call it magic like a trick. Classic with the way I spit it. It be clapping when it hits. I be snapping on this shit. I've been rapping, feeling lit.
Oh, right on time, guys. I'm back with my coffee because I woke up late and I couldn't get my Peruvian chancha mayo organic coffee beans grinded, but I did now, and I got some organic vanilla something creamer, whole milk. I don't know, something. Hope you guys get good coffee. Don't be buying that bullshit Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, none of that trash ass fucking non-fair trade certified beans. They come from abused farmers. I don't know, I'm just saying that, but it's probably true though. Guys, go grind your own beans. Come on, man, get real, get with the flavor, the taste, that aroma, that good water. Seriously, yeah, you don't even know what type of water they be using out there, man. They probably be like spitting in it over there in Starbucks. Oh, you like Trump? Oh, you don't like LGBTQ? You don't like abortion? Oh man, fuck you then, guys. Sorry, I'm not going to Starbucks no more. This turned political. I'm out of here. I seriously did, dude. It really, I don't want to go to these places no more because these corporations have turned political. Like, okay, in a sense, these corporations have completely screwed themselves over. Like, just a little side little gig. I was watching the NBA finals yesterday, man, and I tell you, every commercial break, the same fucking car commercial from the same manufacturer, same commercial, same car. Every commercial break. By the end of the game, I swear there was like 30 commercials for this one car. Man, I just hyped maybe 20, maybe 15. Who knows? It was a shitload. By the end, I hated the car. It was a good car, but I hate that bitch. And I didn't even want to go there. I didn't want to see that car in person. I don't want to drive that car no more. But by the end of it, no, you know, the Starbucks and all these places, corporations, all McDonald's, they be throwing shit in your face so much. Oh, yeah, I don't want to go there. I grind my own beans, man. See, I also got a pour over right here. Ooh, ceramic pour over, full flavor, guys. None of that plastic bullshit. Hey, George, how you like your coffee? You drink coffee right now?
I'm generally don't drink coffee. I used to drink coffee when I would drive long distances because I would use it more as a medication to keep me awake. But now I actually inhale the Brown's gas, and I'm nothing against your coffee. Like, coffee has a flavor and a body and a soul of its own. Absolutely, I wouldn't deny anybody their coffee. But I generally don't drink coffee, and even when I drive between homes, like I have a 13-hour drive from here to Maine, and I can drive straight through because I have my Brown's gas machine in the back seat, and I'm inhaling Brown's gas all the way, and it just keeps my mind alert. I can be sitting at my computer for 12 hours a day, and the time just flies. Like, where did it go? Like, I just helping one person after another, and getting things done. Whereas if I don't have the cannula on, in a couple of hours, I start to get a little drowsy. I start to put things off. I start thinking about things that don't have anything to do with work. It's pretty amazing how this keeps my mind nice and bright and alert, and just clean. There's absolutely no negative side effects. You just totally positive side effects as far as that goes. Like I no longer wear glasses. I lost the warts on my hands. It's just amazing stuff. So all positive side effects, and of course I don't have to support things like Tim Hortons that is hiring people that are they're not supposed to hire. they're not hiring the locals. They're hiring people from elsewhere.
Immigrants and people with like 10 felonies and shit. Yeah, I understand it, bro. They do it on purpose though, because to them it's actually easier on the insurance and the tax, right? If they can go ahead and have all these employees go through their system, they don't have to keep employees on their tax and payroll. They don't have to keep, giving out amendments to like 2-year employees, 4-year employees, 6-year, 8-year, 10-year employees, and bonuses and pay raises. They're like, fuck all that. We could hire the trashies of trash. Keep these guys coming and cycling, man. And they still, half the time they don't even show up to work though.
Yeah,
so they're screwing themselves out of business, man. Coffee is like a very spiritual thing. I think that there's some truth, like how it is a historical trade. Back in the day, it was one of the world's like most Southern America's most dominant trades. It was one of their currencies. Powerful
and various teas as well. Like and then we could get into the homeopathy of things, where you can influence water to give you the same benefits or even better benefits, because hemlock, for example, is a poison. But if you infuse it into water and then do your homeopathy treatments, where you take only a portion of it and then put in distilled water and shake it up, and then pretty soon you haven't even got a molecule of the original hemlock in the water anymore. But when you drink it, you get the therapeutic benefit of it. So so homeopathy in water demonstrates the various things that water has this memory. And there's been a lot of experimentation with water memory. There was a fellow by the name of Emoto that did a lot of, he would flash freeze water. And if it was wonderful water, like he would think on it. He would think toward the water, I love you. And it would make beautiful crystals. And he'd think toward the water, I hate you. And it would make an amorphous mess that you wouldn't want anything to do with. And they use the similar things with plants. There's a book called The Secret Life of Plants, where they exposed water to classical music, and the plants just flourished. And they exposed water to hard acid rock music, and the plants just withered. They could hear the music in the water. It was incredible. So all these things with water is important. I remember when I worked as a prospector for a while. It's one of the things that I did, and I discovered that some creeks make gold, placer gold, every year. Like you could get rid of it, and there's no mother lode. But if water runs over a certain spectrum of rocks, certain kinds of rocks, it turns into gold, and so there's transmutation happening there. So it's really important. And I wasn't the only one that noticed it. I was talking to fellow prospectors, and they had discovered the same sort of thing. So it's known out there, but it isn't advertised or anything like that. So these manufacturing facilities and things like the centers, all of these things that are using water and polluting the water in various ways, they're destroying us. They're destroying the base of life itself on the planet. And I think of water often as the brains of the planet, the memory of the planet, because have you heard of the 100 monkey experiment? Where
yes, and the water within our planet is like, it's resonating out to us.
Yes, and it contains everything. And there was 2 islands, and they started training the monkeys on one island to do a certain thing, and another island that was nearby but had no contact. Those monkeys had no contact with each other. When they trained 100 monkeys to do the thing in the one island, the other island started to the monkeys learned to do it spontaneously by themselves. So and there were simple things also, like the telephone was invented on 2 continents at the same time in the days of sailing ships. So they didn't have communication between continents or satellites or anything like that. But the whole memory of the planet, everything, the development of the planet, I think has to do with the water and how it teaches us things. We learn from water, and we can't afford to have our water decimated and polluted. We absolutely have to figure out ways of having civilization that honors our water. Absolutely.
And to think back, like you had said that coffee was it has a soul. I like to think, and then and I understand it, that every plant and every being, creature, river, mountain has this animate consciousness. I do understand, the old ideas that everything is animate and that there is consciousness, there's energy found within. And when we look back at these ancient tribes, we see that there are connections to specific plants and pretty much everything, and they were able to, like, legitimately find the consciousness and talk to these plants, talk to these creatures, talk to these um beings, the rivers. And so in a sense, when we look at water and how it's been manipulated, all these waterways, dams have caused blockages. Rivers are artificially created. Sewage system, canal systems, artificially created. Everything is getting muggy, dirty. Things are blocking off the natural pathways that the earth and our inhabitants, or our humans and animals, both traversed, and historically, spiritually, memory, um through the memory, have remembered, like, for hundreds of thousands of years. Like when we
Mhm.
see elephants are, they don't know where the fuck they're going, but they do. They kind of do. They're walking to a destination that the spiritual memory is guiding them to, that they know exactly where to go. And if we're constantly blocking and destroying all that, we're kind of destroying the pathways and the historical memory. Not just that, but even within the souls of these plants, and how if we're using CRISPR and we're using glyphosate in the waters, we're actually destroying the souls in the plants and the animals, the spiritual memory and the lineage. It's almost like they're trying to erase the ethereal imprint, the spiritual, the conscious imprint. When I look at photography and how everything can be shot and different lenses, and we look at was it's not like electrophotography. It's something that you can see the spirit there. I forgot the word. I bring it up, but you can see the spiritual essence.
Yes,
What
yes, the etheric energy around the person can be photographed,
Yeah,
and you
so
can.
that essence right there, I forgot what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? And so if we look at people now, and I'm just guessing, this is just a wild speculation, like, because I do a lot of research, and I'm like, I always map this out, like, in my head, like I'm meditating and mapping. If if we are like naturally electric beings, and we have this consciousness, soul, and we're like ethereal, watery type, very, very wavy and animate, well, I could bet that these people who are very GMO'd out and vaccinated up and all this, they have a very low resonance, very low spiritual imprint. There is no spiritual, there is no DNA resonance being left. There is no memory imprint. See, when I look at, like, the way that shamanic tribes were able to understand that there are imprints within actual reality, that we can be leaving memory imprints, physical, mental, spiritual.
Mhm.
Like, we can gather that data. When we walk into a room and a temple, and we sit there and inhale and absorb, we collect actual DNA memory through the air, through the resonance of the stones, through just being there, the presence. We can feel the memory. I know I can meditate, and when I go into a place, if I try, I can sense the memories there, and I can channel through the memories. And I don't like it, because sometimes these places are scary, and
Mhm.
we live in a world of it's like a cemetery sandbox. So it's just, we got spirits living and unalived constantly living in this sandbox. And so I don't like feeling all that, but we can. And if humanity is constantly destroying that, we're not going to be able to sense anymore. There's going to be no imprints, no memories. There's going to be no telekinesis, no telepathy. That's already being destroyed out. People's intuition and pineal gland use is already being destroyed and stomped out. It's being sought after and destroyed. Like, they're like, hey, we know humanity is powerful and special. We know these guys are very, very possible of healing themselves and being happy and transcending above this low vibrational hate and sickness. But we don't want that. We don't want them to be, active with their pineal gland and DMT. To speak about water and the pineal gland, have you looked into crystallization and the pineal gland and how our water, our pineal gland is water based and it crystallizes or calcifies depending on.
I haven't looked into the pineal gland as that much. I think it was Curlian photography that was
yes.
Yeah. So no, I'm not aware of crystallization in the pineal gland. I do know that biologically speaking, we have capabilities that we're not using, and that is impossible in the biological world, because if we're using 10% of our brain, for example, like it's been shown, a brain doesn't develop and not get used. So somewhere in the past, we were much more capable than we are now. And some people are able to use pieces of the brain that are there, and we should all be able to. So it doesn't surprise me at all that things like the pineal gland aren't being used to their capability. But this crystallization thing, I haven't heard of.
So our pineal gland, there's been studies where if fluoridated water will like super crystallize and calcify the pineal gland and harden it. But then when we go on like a natural diet and clean water and sunlight, it softens it and it makes it like a soft tissue, and it starts sending out the DMT secretion naturally. And this is what our humanity is facing all around the nation, all around the world, in America specifically. Our systems of water, from the rivers to even the brain, is being corrupted and destroyed. These data centers are the next overtaking of this, where it's going to be able to merge with you. What is your what is your research, I guess, or talk on how water memory and biological systems could be affected, probably through what's happening right now with these data centers?
Well, first of all, the pollution, and then second of all, lack of water. So there's a lot of environmental dehydration would be going on. But when you corrupt the water itself by putting frequencies and memories and stuff in it that aren't supposed to be there, or just as in the environment, people, all the bodies, all the living things that are water-based, the plants, the animals, us, are all going to be affected by whatever that is. And a lot of what that is not good. So we are already super beings. Our brain, even just one person's brain, is still more capable than an entire data center if it was used the way it's supposed to be, which most of us are not, including myself. But the potential has been shown in various kinds of studies. So here we have these big data centers being built that are going to put out all these information and frequencies locally, as well as transmitting it nationwide, worldwide, whatever the case may be. There's positive things, like they're going to sell us on it'll make life better and all that kind of thing. But kind of like Walmart, cheaper, live better, but really all they did was they exported all the jobs off so that people don't have the money to live better. They have to have the cheaper things. There's always side effects of whatever's going on, and you have to balance what you're willing to accept as the side effects to the benefit cost base. And I think anything that makes the water bad or uses up the water is a bad idea in the long run.
Why are they using up the water? What's causing it to use up that amount of water?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I haven't actually figured that out myself. I think first of all,
Doesn't make
water is
sense, does
needed
it?
for cooling because it's much more efficient to cool the electronics with water than it is with air. So
What do you mean? So
that
how do
would
they cool? How do they cool this amount of electronics with water? Like they just dump it on, or what?
no with radiators and stuff where the water circulates around the various electronic components and absorbs the heat, and then goes off and gets well. In this case, they're not even using fans like in an automobile to get rid of the heat. They're just taking the water from the environment and then dumping it back into the environment, but having gone through this process that ends up polluting it. It's
So they
kind
don't
of
even
like
clean it, right? That's why these
right.
cities are saying that waters are turning brown.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So if they're just cooling the fans, why is it turning brown?
Because it's running through the apparatus over the chips and everything, collecting whatever impurities it happens to be. But also remember the transmutation kind of thing that happens. Water tends to
Yeah,
transmute into the elements that it's associated with.
yeah.
So we have that going on as well.
All this dark processing. So, I see China. They're using their data centers underground, and they're putting it in the ocean to like they don't need to waste the water. I see that's a good thing. We don't have to use our water for sure.
There's
So,
there's
okay,
got to
next
be
thing.
alternatives that are more environmentally friendly. Absolutely.
And to think though, our water systems like rivers and lakes and everything. Have you seen like how it used to be, like 100, 200 years ago, and how we were kind of thriving with the river, the fish and different things, and how it is now? Because like these data centers are trying to block out water rights to certain rivers and lakes and different things, right?
Yes. I grew up in that. Like I was out in the middle of British Columbia. We were so far out, we didn't even have radio. There was no electricity. There was no indoor running water. My family of 9 people and the dogs and cats lived in a 25-foot square log trapper's cabin that was built in the 1800s, literally, and we had an outhouse and so and wood stove to cook our food and heat the home and stuff. I grew up like that. So the water around us at the time was very clear and pristine. Some of the clearest, most of water, it was said, in Canada even. So the only clearer water I ever saw was when I went up into the Yukon Territory, and on the edge of a glacier, the water was so clear that you couldn't even see it. You could stick a stick down in it. The ground looked like it was only 2 feet deep of the water, but I put a 12-foot pole down in it and still couldn't touch the bottom. It was absolutely amazingly clear water. So I've seen water when it's in its natural pristine state. And when you talk about water flows as well, it isn't just the lakes and rivers, it's the flows of water in the air. We have water flowing naturally from the poles, like Antarctica and the North Pole, into the equator and back around again. It's got, there's currents of water flowing in the atmosphere. And part of that, actually, they did a study when they were looking at these exosomes that they call the viruses and stuff. They were seeing progression, like if they could see a new variant form in China and then take air samples, and it would form, they could see it traveling across the surface of the planet. So this 6-foot rule that they were imposing upon people was all about control. It had absolutely nothing to do with the infection rate. The particles are smaller than smoke, okay, smaller than smoke particles. So if you're in a gymnasium, for example, and somebody is smoking over in one corner, you're going to smell the smoke everywhere in that gymnasium in a relatively short time. And so this 6-foot rule was just ridiculous. I just had to get that out there. But the point is that water carries information in a lot of different ways, and it circulates around the entire planet. It's one reason why I think that information can go from one continent to another fairly quickly. And we really got to take care of it.
That 6 foot thing, yeah. So when I was in the military, I was a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear specialist, and I had on the hazmat, gear and gas masks, and learning about particles. And I was only in there for 2 years, thank God, because like I don't fuck the military now. It's crazy. It is definitely shit. Well, I learned in there how gas masks really work and how mass really works, and the particles per millions. And when all this COVID and all that shit came around, and the 6 feet in the mass agenda started popping up, I was like, the fuck? I was like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, this is fucking ran by idiots, dude. Like, this is the military taught me already that none of this shit is real. And then I would I would look at it, their data, and like these guys are just fucking propagandists, bro. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was insane. And that the, the masks don't stop. The masks wouldn't
Yeah.
stop it if it were even real. If it were even real, the way they even say it. But yeah,
Well,
it is exosomes. It's really just like it's a germ versus terrain theory, an old school type of theory of viruses, like that's brainwashing the population.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they showed that masks actually make people sicker. You're more likely to get sick if you're wearing a mask than if you're not with it in this situation. The reason that surgeons wear masks wasn't to prevent infection of the patient. It was to prevent snot and saliva from dripping into open wounds.
Probably that makes sense. It's just a face mask. Like these rivers and dams and lakes, and like I've been kind of referencing, man, all around the world. Like I know over here in the West Coast, it's very important because there have been natural like living routes just completely altered, and we're starting to see rivers be polluted with trash and everything. I think it's that way. It was built that way for a reason, like the way that we're seeing all of our nation, even our highway system in America. If you see our highway system, it's built in a very specific way to fuck up the traffic. Where it's not they can expand it, but they're keeping it very limited, because they don't want people out in freedom and in areas that they can't control. No control means freedom for us, right? So they don't want that.
Yep.
All right, yeah. Let's look at something where I think we see like the ancient Roman aqueducts and the Incan and the Peruvian waterway systems. These things are still around. Some of them are still around, were usable before ever destroyed. These days it seems like we can't even have water systems that work for 50 or 100 years without like constant maintenance, or else it'll be flooded, clogged, destroyed, and everything. Have you ever thought about like utilizing some of these other countries, be like, hey, I want to go over there and start thinking about their technologies and putting it here, just a quick, have you ever looked into the other places and their stuff?
Yeah, I've looked at some particular technologies. I'm a jack of all trades, so I just look at things everywhere I go.
Like
And I
building a little
implemented,
mini pyramid with a limestone and waterway.
I haven't done that, no. But I do pay attention to these things because I don't automatically assume that because I don't know how it works, that it doesn't exist. A lot of scientists say if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. But there's so many things that exist that we can't measure. What's the weight of a soul? we know we have a soul. We know we have an electric field. They have measured that the body actually loses a fraction of a pound of weight when the soul disappears from it, when it dies. But it just there's so much that we don't know. There's so much, and everything we learn simply starts raising more questions. Hopefully we can, as we're learning, improve the quality of our life, but we also have to protect our planet. These data centers, there's got to be better ways of doing it. I'm not saying to eliminate data centers. I'm saying Let's find a better way.
It's definitely, I think, disturbing our spiritual progression. Like right now, people are having a hard time with finding enough water for their businesses, companies, cities. It's dirty, polluted. People are worried about the microplastics in water. Um, a little bit of everything. Uh, well, if we focus on water technologies though, to override like with hydrogen engines, do you think that could help out? Like, so if everybody switched over to like focus, if the whole world switched over and focused on hydrogen based car engines, could that help out?
Okay, one of my trades, I'm a certified automotive technician, and I specialize in fuel systems. That's where I was selling my fuel savers and things like that. So I'm actually in a position to answer this with a little bit of authority, competence. The technology exists out there right now, and I say this as an inventor who has researched the various patent and worked on vehicles for decades and things like that. The technology exists out there to make automobiles that'll go 1,000,000 miles with almost no maintenance and at least 400 miles to the gallon. The technology exists and has existed for many decades to do that. What is needed is education and political will. The people that make money selling oil and selling automobiles, because they make them with a planned obsolescence that requires a lot of servicing, and then it goes off to the junkyard and people buy another automobile. It's kind of like these computers and cell phones and stuff. Every so often, you buy another $1,000 phone. That doesn't need to happen. But so to answer your question, yeah, there's a lot better ways of doing it. Doesn't necessarily have to be hydrogen technology. They could still even use the fossil fuel technology, but hydrogen technology would be cleaner.
Well, like I've seen recently, a new company also put a hydrogen based stove and oven, and so it would like they could start cooking just like by using water as a fuel. And so that can be implemented into like a lot of different technologies all around the world, right? Um,
Yeah, there's a problem with that. Hydrogen doesn't exist naturally in nature. Helium does, but that's not combustible. So hydrogen, so you have to get the hydrogen from something. Generally, right
Water.
now, hydrogen is made by breaking apart hydrocarbon fuels. So you get your carbon dioxide and your hydrogen that you can then oxidize and make water. And so you need it, but that's off site, off location, generally speaking. If you're making hydrogen on location, like with the aquacure, what it's doing, you're taking water and splitting it with electricity, but you still need the electricity. So here you're replacing an electric stove and oven with a hydrogen one, but you're actually, because of the electrolyzer and the inefficiencies, you're actually converting the electricity into a gas that then you're using for heat. You're more efficient to actually have used the electricity directly to heat. So I don't see electric stoves hydrogen-based stoves catching on unless there is something that can create the hydrogen at a lot less cost than what's generally out there right now. Like on my house, I have a 24 kilowatt solar system, for example, solar cells.
Yeah.
And I have an electric car. So I'm making this out all the time to
You're charging a car with the sun.
Yeah, I charge the car with the sun, and I can do all my lighting. I use LED lighting everywhere and stuff like that. I'm an alternative energy researcher, so I try to make things as efficient as possible. And my house is essentially self-contained for the most part. I sell my excess electricity to the grid, and that acts like a great big battery, because then when I need more electricity than I'm actually using, which occasionally happens, then like at nighttime, the solar system isn't working. Then I'm buying back at the same cost that I went out. And that could be implemented everywhere. So time.
I just to like figure it out at the like in a complete process. Our ancient ancestors, they would look at the way to the universe, the way to the Milky Way was like a water system. It was like they traveled through spirit through this galactic water river, this Milky Way, this system, this spiritual akashic ethereal presence we got. And I think this is all biblical, man. In a sense, this is weird that I'm even thinking about this, but I was stumbling across some other conversations, I think some podcasts, and I think it was Sam Tripoli's tinfoil hat, and they were talking about like the end times and how in some of these religious texts and some of these religious beliefs, well, they think that um hell has a certain amount of souls allotted before it comes back up, that heaven is going to finally open back up, like when I guess God said, hey, after about, let's just say 10 billion souls that hell takes, then it's like a reset, a restart, and the end times, what is it, like the rapture and all this starts coming about. And one of the ideas that I'm thinking about right now is how, like, these cults, these satanic cults, these death cults, they understand this. They delve into the dark realms. They delve into the soul takers and shit, and they know that, and they're trying to stop uh you know number. They're trying to alter the numbers. They're either trying to force people in there or trying to make sure people don't go in there, or stay in their realm. Maybe they created their own little space in a spiritual space, because these magicians, they're using our life force to open up doorways to either hell or heaven, and we're against our own will. um and if these, as we talked about earlier, these technologies, these mRNA, these parasitic technologies can alter our consciousness and keep people living, and destroy that water pathway up and up into the extension of heaven. So there's two things, I guess, right? They're trying to keep the good from extending up into heaven, and they're trying to keep the dark souls, I guess, from dying and going back. And so they're keeping the dark souls more alive and longer, keeping them repetitive, cloning them. But this all relates to how, like, the afterlife, right? Everything, water and life. Water is life, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be living without it. We would be dead. We fucking, the whole world has been dead because of it, the floods. So it's really controlled everything. And we are these water-based spiritual beings. Like, I've seen some research where I forget where our spirit, they were able to, like, someone was able to use like this Kirlian type photography or research into the energy of the spirit, and they realized, like, it's a water based. It for some, it's our consciousness, the DMT thing, through our pineal gland. Our spirit is water based, guys, and right now it's being tampered with. It, like, if there's a how do I say it? Okay, living on Earth is a pond, and we are the reflection. Num- and the pond is being manipulated, and so our reflection from within is being manipulated, and people don't see it. And this is, if our reflection is altered too much, we're not going to be able to pass through that pond, which is the gateway into the afterlife, and heaven above, where um I've seen some other, like, cults and religious ideologies where they're speculating how, we have to be at a certain high vibration in order to enter heaven, and, like, we have to be on a certain frequency of love and all this stuff, and that frequency is being tarnished. And so a lot of it's open right now. Like, I know people in society where I've talked to, like, I go and talk to a lot of people. I'm a very social person, and those conversations I have with people scare me sometimes, where they're like, yeah, well, I believe in Satan, or whatever, and they're like, well, I don't really believe in God. Or they're like, well, do you I don't really believe in anything. And I'm like questioning, like, well, where's your spirit at? They're like, yeah, I don't really have one. I get confused by some of these conversations where I try to talk to everybody on a spiritual level, where like spirit to spirit, mind to mind, body to body, and I feel them out. I don't try to like harm and be like, oh, your skin color, or oh, you talk or look this way, in a sense. I try to seek and like find that spiritual essence, because I really connect to spirit when I'm around people. I kind of feel what's on your mind, on your vibe, and like if we're just chilling and smoking or whatever, like I'm around you, even with like prior girlfriends or something. I'm like, I get near them, I'm like, oh, they don't have to say anything, but like I feel them on a spiritual level. These days, though, the war has gotten so strong on this mind, body, and soul that I don't feel that anymore from people. And this is alarming and scary, where it's biblical, where it says that, like, I forgot what part, what exactly, right? It talks about how like demons will roam the earth near the end of the days. Like demons will walk the earth among us, and these dark spiritual forces will walk among, even the book of Enoch references that in a less politically correct way. The book of Enoch is awesome, but like these forces are literally here with us right now, and I feel it. Like humans aren't humans anymore, and people aren't people anymore. They're bodiless. They're consciousless. And I hate to say it, I'm not any better. I've been I'm a human. I'm not some god. I got a spirit, but I'm aware. So other people do have spirits. They're just not aware. Maybe they've gone completely hijacked. Like, have you ever heard of the term with the UFO ideologies, or even demonic possession? Like, people have been hijacked or completely soul stripped.
I haven't heard that term specifically, but I understand the concept. Like that when demons take over a person's body, sometimes the person themselves gets ejected. Sometimes they just get suppressed, but it's certainly a thing.
Like the ancient religions knew this too, which is where like the Catholic Church, they built they built like a crew of exorcists, and they know that there's something within, and it's like esoteric knowledge in a sense. Some people are like, wow, you're really into that dark stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm talking about angels and God and how to cast out demons. Come on, no, is it really that dark? I understand it's a little esoteric, like a little unknown, but really truly right now, with these companies like Monster and Liquid Death and these other things, um they're perverting the DNA and spiritual essence from within, and soul stripping and hijacking. I got a question. So these cloning labs, these meat labs, these are like 3D printing labs and shit. What's the water base on that?
I don't know. That's a
Can
good
you
question.
imagine?
Oh, it would be great. I mean, a lot. The water consumption would be great in something like that. Absolutely.
No, but also we have water. We have God's water. Like we have a memory and stuff, and in the river it has like life. What type of water is being put into those 3D? Is that unlively? Is it not no life at all completely? How would what could you imagine just putting like your
That's a
conspiracy
really
goggles
good
on?
question. That's a really good question.
So your conspiracy goggles on real quick. What could be happening to the water in these GMO foods and food
Well,
and things?
let's say water has a memory, water itself, like they're not using new water, which, by the way, the aquacure can make, like we say, new water as well, and then you can transmute it into various things. But let's just say they're using ordinary tap water that they're purifying in whatever way that they do. Tap water has all different kinds of things in it. We're not talking just microplastics. We're talking drugs and hormones and pesticides and herbicides and just a whole bunch of things. And all that memory is going into this process, because we are mostly water. And when you 3D print meat or whatever you're doing, again,
From
it's mostly
tissue samples,
water.
nonetheless. A
Yeah.
lot of them say that from either dead tissue samples, crazily human tissue samples, chimera type tissue samples. So that's replicating back into them.
So if it's alive, it has a soul, it has an energetic imprint. And that energetic imprint is going to try to print itself onto the water, whatever it happens to be. So if you're taking water from or imprint from a meat off of a cow, for example, then it's going to imprint the same as if it was the cow originally, because we're talking a cloning type of a situation. But it's also going to be influenced by what was in the water that you're putting into it, because the meat isn't making its own water. They have inputs, right? So there'll be various proteins and all those kind of things that they're putting into it. But also it's going to be influenced by the people that are doing it. Okay. You can literally think information into this meat, and the information can be positive or negative. If they're doing a satanic, or the person's even having a bad day, that's going to be imprinted in the meat. And then whoever eats that meat is going to get that message.
Yeah. And if these lab meats are also recreated from, let's just say, harmed individuals, this is scary, man. So in this over there in DC with the whole ping pong comet pizza shit, in the basement they found a painting with McDonald's burgers and humans going into the line to create the McDonald's burger. They found a painting like that, and we know that I'm just gonna say, these religious tiny hat motherfuckers from the other side of the world, these guys also have talked about putting human meat into our food system from way back in the day, because that's the type of cults that they actually worship. They're like, hey, we eat humans, so maybe our enemies will too. I think,
so you're looking at movies like Soylent Green,
yes,
where they're just showing cannibalism, pure and simple.
So that's being repopulated and regenerated through these lab printed meats and McDonald's meats and Burger King meats and different things like that. People are actually eating cannibalistic type and you know what? Even there's been labs who've shown, like, hey, there's small traces of humans in this. Why is that? And then they get shut down.
Yeah.
I think these places are really turning people inside out, man. Now I'm thinking about it on a deeper level. Yeah, Soylent Green was a good one. I need to go watch that again. That's a great one to think about. So these veggies, these vaccines, the artificial meats, the liquid deaths, they're really corrupting people from within on a spiritual, mental, physical, biological level, guys. This was a great conversation. I think that we have opened up a few ideas for a next round where, like, this is getting very, very spiritual, where we're like, we can talk about, hey guys, you need to drink 110 ounces of water every day. Make sure to do that. I'm your doctor. But no, we're over here like, yeah, guys, you do need a lot of water. Drink plenty of water throughout the day. But there's a deeper reason on why we need it and why it's important. It's like taking someone. Life is like a gun show in a sense. People are walking around with a gun, loaded gun. But do you really have the knowledge on who you are, what you are, do you really have the knowledge on your firepower, on your essence? And are you just a wild gun just walking around and not knowing if you're gonna backfire, if you're gonna misfire, if you're not gonna fire? You don't even know you have ammo. You don't even know you exist, right? But like, if once we're like really dialed in and we understand who we are, why we are here, we really get in control of our own power.
Yeah. And there are better ways of doing things, but people got to get their ego out of the way. What you were talking about just there with walking around with guns reminded me of a author called Robert A. Heinlein, and he wrote a book called Beyond This Horizon. And if people get a chance to read that, they'll see that there's a whole different philosophy of civilization. And in that particular civilization, everybody was encouraged to carry firearms. and the idea was an armed society is a polite society. And in the West, which I essentially grew up in the West, and I carried around my firearms, mostly because of bears and cougars and things like wolves, and occasionally I had to shoot a cow because it broke its leg or something. We shot our food that we ate, mainly rabbits and grouse and deer and elk and caribou and things like that. So I'm well versed in firearms. My dad was a marksman in the Army, and he didn't stop training us kids until we could outshoot him. But and if it took more than one shot to get the job done, it was a deep embarrassment. But the idea of being the worst predators on the planet walk on two legs, and it scares me when I walk around in a city, especially if I walk around unarmed. Because it's bad. Like a black bear is a lot more friendly than people I meet in the streets in Chicago, for example. It's like not very good. But there's a lot of good out there, and we have to concentrate on the good. We have to absolutely, what we think comes into existence. You have to concentrate, and of course everybody's doing their own creation thing, and it's a conglomeration that makes the world we live in. The more people that have honor and integrity and morals and believe in God and spirituality and care for each other, the better we're all going to be.
That is indeed true, my friend. We can be a great force if we hone ourselves. We're like a flower growing up. There's soil, there's water, there's light. But are we getting fed that water? Are we getting fed that light? Or are you just like closing up that flower and letting it die? Water can help us. It manifests, help us dream, pray. I know for me, when I'm like when I was, I don't drink any alcohol anymore. I'm about 6 months sober now, maybe a little more. When I couldn't really pray. Thank you. I couldn't really pray so easily. I couldn't really find God and that peace. It was constantly like war going on in my brain, just all these different chemicals and stuff. I felt like the vibrations from the alcohol chemicals. I mean, on a deep level, I know what's going on. Other people don't. They can't pray. They can't think. They can't find God. They're constantly questioning themselves. You need to get rid of the alcohol, my friends. My family members, everybody out there, everybody. Like, I hope that you can find a cleaner water source right now. Because look, 100 years ago, cool, people used to drink and pray and find God. You know why? Because the rest of their body wasn't flooded with chemicals and poisons and frequencies and pesticides and glyphosates and red 40s and trisodium phosphate, disonium fucking bullshit, blah 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 blah. I'm just making up words because they're making up words, and they have shut down our process to pray, where that pineal gland 100 years ago, the alcohol was clean. It was clean. It wasn't filled with all these artificial flavors and sweeteners and junk and glyphosates and junk. So people used to be able to drink normal, like and drink a little bit, would drink a lot, whatever, but they were still spiritually grounded. These days, the chemicals in these water, in these sodas, in these energy drinks, in these alcohols, in these foods, they're polluting and clogging people like mud, so that even if you could be nice, you could be great, but if you're not cleaning yourself with proper health and nutrition and cleansing, and you're gonna be clogged. And like, yeah, I know that there's some Christians out there, some like Catholics and people who, like, I've been to church recently where like I talk to them and they're like, well, like, I kind of pray, but I just give it up to God. I don't really believe that prayer really works. So like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, these guys don't really feel that presence, that spiritual presence. It's been clogged, destroyed. Yeah, sure. You can try to be nice, but if you're not actually being a proper human, you're not unlocking and allowing yourself fully to transcend and talk to God. Like, like when I was on alcohol, I couldn't really pray, but I also couldn't dream. I couldn't get visions and messages. I couldn't find that peace and tranquility to have the vision and foresight, the telepathy, the intuition, the deja vus, astral projection, astral traveling. I wasn't able to tap into those type of things. But now that I'm on water, cleaner water, I'm able to like hop on that boat whenever I want. I sit down in this body and I hop on the boat of spirit in my mind, and I can travel wherever I want to if I wanted to. But it's just the way humans have worked for a long time. And if we aren't doing that, if we aren't cleaning, and if we aren't traveling, we're not using our spirit like the most basic way. We could sit and pray and find that kingdom of God that is that is found inside, and we can actually call down an angel, call down God, call down Jesus, and like be like, hey, help me out. And we could feel that presence. But if we're clogged up with junk in our system, junk in our spirit, junk in our mind, guys, it's not going to happen. And I know this for people in church these days. Why is it that the people outside of church who are still supposedly hippie have a better connection to God? Because they're clean, they're cleansed. And I try to tell that to my fellow friends and family members. A lot of people have a disconnection, and I understand it. It's either parasite or it's just clogged brain, whatever it is. It's the world has been dimming human souls and human minds and human bodies, and we cannot be dimmed, my friend. We are a light. We are an unstoppable light. We are an unstoppable force, and this light can transcend into the heavenly realms if we know how to light that source, guys. I've had a wonderful conversation, George. If you could please let them know about any projects and anything. We're gonna have I'll schedule here for another month or two out, and we can keep on shooting these conversations, bro. These conversations are timeless.
Yeah, people need to know these sort of things. I did want to mention, because it occurred to me when you were listing various chemicals and stuff, fluoride. Fluoride has been shown to make the mind much more susceptible to programming. So people that are brushing with fluoride and stuff, fluoride is the nasty byproduct. It's a toxic waste of aluminum production. And yeah, they discovered that it kills bacteria. Well, it kills just about anything. And so they put it in toothpaste in order to sell this toxic waste to people because, again, it was discovered that it also makes the population manipulatable, so that they can program you. There's a reason why they call TV programming. So pay attention to various things like that. I don't do fluoride. I was lucky to grow up where we didn't have toothpaste and stuff. I still have all my own teeth, and my dentist it says I wish all my patients had teeth like yours. So this thing is really important. Projects, we've got various things happening with the aquacure in our business. For example, there's a way that you can make the deuterium depleted water or new water with the machines. We have a micro bubbler that my wife absolutely loves. We've sold hundreds of these, where you can turn your bathtub into a spa because it takes the Brown's gas and turns it into a fog of micro bubbles in your bath water. So, and she used to be a rock climber, climbed mountains and cliff faces and stuff. And she had a lot of scars on the fronts of her legs. And those scars all disappeared within weeks. It wasn't even months. And that was quite amazing how her skin healed just from the spa-like. And she loved it so much, the feel of her skin, that she would take even a couple baths a day to be in the micro bubbles. So there's various things that are happening out there. And we're trying to stay on the leading edge of the curve of getting this done to help as many people as possible be healthy as possible. Thank you for having me on, that we can talk about these things.
Absolutely, my friend. We are the way of water. Fuck Avatar. We are the true water beings. James Cameron stole the idea from tribals and natives all around the world and bastardized it. Yeah, man. A quick little win, I guess. There's a piece of news. Where is it? Up here. I guess. Florida Florida Governor Ron DeSantis just banned AI data centers from using up all the water needed by citizens during a drought, and the law bans utility companies from charging higher prices because of data centers. So at least Florida is kind of like stepping up, like, hey, man, dude, the water prices and electric prices because of these fucking data centers. Is it happening over there in Canada too?
I'm imagining that it is. I'm a little isolated from it myself because, like I say, I have
Yeah,
my
you
own
don't have to
power.
pay for electricity. You're
And
solar.
I actually was going to drill a well, but then I discovered I had an underground river running through my house. So I just tapped into that. And so I have my own water and electricity in my house.
Hey, man, if I'm down to help you build an underground bunker in Cave Network and stuff. Like, if you ever want, man, hey, start the Doomsday Bunker now, and I got the back and bronze. I'm youthful. Got you.
Well, I do have some things along those lines, but I'm also I just built a nice greenhouse so that I could be growing a lot more of my own food and things as well.
Well, you live like on a low plain area, mountain area, or what?
I actually the house I'm in right now is almost on the shore of Lake Erie. It's
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right around Chilaga.
I don't know where Chilaga is, but I'm near Niagara
Dude,
Falls.
okay, here. You want to see? You don't know where you're at though. Then I'm gonna show you something. This. So you know Chicago, right? Chicago.
Yes.
It's based
Yes.
after Chilaga. You know the Great Lakes, right? And you know if you look at maps just a little bit back, you're not gonna see the Great Lakes. It was named Chilaga, and around I forgot the story, but it's somewhere between 1600s, was that it got blown up. The Great Lake, it was a quarry. Here, look at this. Where you at? Okay, before we head out, this is I'm surprised, man. I got mind blown because this it makes sense, and I wondered the whole time.
You do see old world Chicago, though. The Great Lakes certainly were something. That's why on so many old world maps, before the reset, you don't see them. You do see old world Chicago, though. Shilaga. That's a subject for another video if you haven't seen my past ones on that. I mean, just look how old this map is. They all show ancient towns, little castles even, all along the New World, long before they should be there. America is a lot older than we've been told. I believe these were indeed mined out and then dammed up afterwards, filled in with fresh water. Let's take a look at this video that explains the process that they went through at Lake Michigan to run groundwater, fresh water from the lake into Chicago, with just horse and buggy and hammer and chisel, mind you.
As we drain the waters.
Quickly, I just want to say, George, if you look at the depths with LiDAR of the Great Lakes, and you look at how it's a quarry, bro. It's built and shaped like a quarry, and up north somewhere where they had a little fine piece of land that was stopping the river, they blew it up. In between, there was all towns. There was an old civilization, and I'm 100% positive, like where Detroit and Chicago and all those around the Great Lakes, like you guys are the remnant. You guys, a lot of people are starting to get into this research, but you guys are the remnants of where they completely filled up cities with water and like killed out. I don't even know how many.
From the Great Lake, Michigan, a steel column is exposed, rising 40 feet to the ocean surface. It is a water intake station. Claiming to have built this in 1865 by putting up cofferdams, pumping the water out, and then getting to the lake bottom and digging 200 more feet down. All the while, take a 90-degree turn and head 3 to 7 miles back to land with no compressed air or power tools. Plus the fury of Lake Michigan in its frozen waters in the winter. These water intake stations on Lake Michigan were built prior to the filling of the reservoir
Sure, bullshit.
that is Lake Michigan. They didn't dig down in between cofferdams to reach the bottom and dig another 200 feet down. They just simply did it before they flooded the area. It was planned, created, and implemented by the highest concentration of masons in the country, the Great Lakes.
So there's a lot more research that you can get into, George, on Chilaga and the Great Lakes and what happened there. But I also directly related to Aleister Crowley on why he chose Detroit, Michigan as his first satanic temple location and what they did afterwards. If I'm correct, you got fucking Ford and you got the biggest type of metal manufacturer. So what they do, they clogged up all the mines, they dug down even deeper, and they took all that shit for themselves. And then you started seeing the metal manufacturing business go through the roof. Whatever they were getting something. What's even crazier is iRobot, the movie, also based right there in Detroit, Michigan, there, and the cloning centers. I've seen, and iRobot isn't even the only like movie or piece of music video or Hollywood art that I've seen reference Detroit being like a cloning center, secret military satanic cloning center or some shit. And 8 Mile underneath, what are they referencing? 8 miles underneath Detroit, Michigan. There's a lot to it, brother. This is a good one. Hey, you go ahead and do more research about that. And you're right in the neck of the woods. And if I bet you, I'm betting if you dig down and you're underneath you're gonna find some shit. I'll help you out. Hey, guys, please go over to eagle-research.com and use coupon code 509 Divine Pines. And stay tuned for more episodes between me and George Wiseman. Be blessed, be high. See you guys next time on the 509 Divine Pines podcast. Peace. I love y'all.